What's up?
Pathfinder, how's it going, brother?
Hey, not bad, man. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing better than Boydie by the looks of things, unfortunately.
Apparently, yeah, it's all good.
Right, let's just make sure we've got levels as we need them. Oh, I've just come to realise that I'm not on push to talk either. And you know what? I'm not going to be. So if you've got a webcam, mate, feel free to put it on. You don't have to. It's entirely up to you. But we're really glad you can make it on this week because obviously we've got quite a lot of talking about dead matter. Obviously, you being someone that knows a lot more about it than the rest of us generally. So it'd be quite interesting to catch up on some information on it from someone who knows what they're talking about, rather than us just basically guessing and pulling straws out of our backsides at this point.
Yeah.
The one was great to see Shroud back on DayZ. Say yes, Shroud being back on DayZ as well. Yeah, 46,000 people, I think it was, something like that. He had watching him at one point. Which, to be fair, I think
I'll go on that game again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with Shroud. I think it doesn't matter what he plays; he'll always have quite a high viewership. But to see it come to DayZ, I ain't complaining.
I mean, I would love to see DayZ get popular again, honestly. Yeah, that would be good for every survival game that comes in the future. Just the genre would be popular, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those as well. I mean, we look at it generally every week. We have a look at the Steam charts for DayZ, and it's not doing bad. I mean, it's currently sitting at a 24-hour peak of 18,500 concurrent players. So,
dang, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and it says playing 39 minutes ago, 16,299. So it's still getting, literally tens of thousands of people playing on a daily basis. So it's
Solid.
We all joke about it every week, but it's about it being a dead game, but it's far from it at this point.
Yeah,
definitely far from it. Absinthe, thank you for the follow, my friend. Welcome on in. So I guess we'll kick things off as best we can then, and go over onto the info for Dead Matter. Since we've got you, I've just got to try and find which bloody tab, if any.
You said to connect my webcam. Where do I do that at for this?
Yeah, so if you go into if you look where you're connected to the podcast, look at the bottom. It'll say voice connected, and it'll say video. Turn on camera.
Oh.
So you can whack that on. I'd say you don't have to necessarily. It's entirely up to you as to whether you want your webcam on. Mine probably won't work because I've got it on Streamlabs. So that just sort of seems to be the way it works. But
we'll see if it actually loads or not.
Well, like I say, it's not a major issue if it isn't. At the end of the day, it's what you say is going to be the important side of things. So it's not anything too concerning.
Is this a live podcast or is it?
Yes, it is a live one. No, it's both. It is live now, and then it will get uploaded to YouTube and SoundCloud and all those by Boydie in the next week or so. But yeah, on my Twitch channel, Brimstone _live is where we're doing it today, because obviously normally it would be on Boydie's channel, but he's not well.
Yeah.
So we'll have some people in the chat.
Archie Stormcloud coming or no?
I have no idea.
Because he was supposed to be co-host originally.
Yeah, so Archie's normally on. If he's not on the actual podcast itself, then he's usually in the chat letting us know his thoughts and opinions on things anyway. So I think he should be around at some point, but since the podcast's not due to start technically for another 15 minutes, we might not see him for a little while yet.
Very well. Question, logistical question. Am I allowed to post this on my channel as well?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Twitch's sort of stuff is as far as if you wanted to stream the podcast yourself. You're welcome to. I've got no issue with it. Same for YouTube. Share things out and what have you. You're welcome to.
I'll probably just do a pre-recording and upload it because I don't want to mess with any of the Twitch affiliate stuff going on.
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys messed around in that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's not a problem. I'll say whatever works for you. Feel free to post what you want wherever you can. Not a problem at all.
Cool. Just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Not a problem. Okie dokie. So I guess we'll start the podcast as best we can. And obviously with information from Dead Matter. So thank you, Pathfinder, for jumping on and having this this impromptu weird version of the podcast this week to chat about Dead Matter. Obviously, I've got little knowledge about it, so all I sort of know is obviously the basic info of what Dead Matter is and things like that. I've seen some clips, some videos here or there, and I know there's been a little bit of issues with the keys being given out to backers and things as well. I didn't know if you wanted to sort of go ahead and shed some light on what's been going on with the game recently.
All right. Well, the game situation, I mean, that was a total nightmare, man. Whenever you talk about a launch day failure, something like what happened with Dead Matter will certainly pop into your head. We were all supposed to get our keys. I believe it was Wednesday, and obviously now it's Saturday, and a lot of people still don't. But I think they just put out an announcement actually, and it said that about half the backers will have their keys now. And they're waiting on Valve to agree to the request for the other half come hopefully Monday, because they don't push out keys on the weekends.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it was all just a messy turn of events. I mean, I'm glad that they came out in the update saying, we're not going to deflect blame. We weren't prepared. It was our fault, and that's good. That's something that needs to happen in a situation like this, because even though there's that very vocal minority in the gamer group where they're just spreading toxicity for the most part, their community, all they want is just some clear communication as to what's going on, because they were promised a product at a specific date, and all of a sudden they don't. So that's the main thing that happened there. And then the Discord shut down because people were being toxic, and that wasn't even like a petty toxicity Discord shutdown. Did you hear what was going on?
I didn't know. I can only imagine Boydie probably saw and heard some stuff, but I'm sort of out of the loop.
There was doxing going on. There was child pedo stuff being shared to the developers from some of the people. There was some really, really aggressive like cyber tactics going on there, like for no reason. And so like I understand like people are frustrated, but at the end of the day, right, it's a game, and it's early, or it's not even early, it's closed alpha, and it's for people to stoop to that level is just grossly unacceptable.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think it's one thing to dox a few people. Obviously, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination condoning that behavior, but there's a big leap between doxing a couple of people from a video games Discord to actually sending indecent images of minors to the developers of a game simply because you're a little bit annoyed with the fact that a game launch hasn't quite gone as well as you'd like it to. That's a hell of a fucking jump to make.
Yeah, whenever I heard that, I was extremely disturbed. I was like, holy crap, man, because usually the community is so chill. We all just we all love survival games. We all love breed killing zombies. We all love meeting up, having adventures, making some stories around a campfire kind of thing. It's a very specific and special kind of community. And then that same community, people from that community did that, stoop to that level, and it was not good. Not good.
No, not good in the slightest. I'm glad it's kind of I mean, granted they're a vocal group, but it's a very small minority of people, within the community, within the gaming community in general, not just for not just for survival games or DayZ or Dead Matter specifically, but at least it's only a few people and it's not a more widespread problem. But like you say, it is very disturbing. Like I said, there's a big jump between, getting pissed off, being a bit toxic in a Discord chat, doxing a few people, and then sending that sort of material to people. That's a big jump, and that is 110% unacceptable. And that
Mhm.
is, something very, very wrong there. The fact that we are mentioning it, the fact that it's happened in the first place, blows my
It's
mind.
weird. It's weird, right? Like I never thought that this conversation would be happening in terms of like in the context of a launch failure. Like
Yeah,
no, I never in a million years would have guessed that that would have been an issue that needs to be brought up.
yeah. I
But
mean, I can kind of understand when it comes to things like religion and politics. Those are two very, very polarizing subjects. So
sure,
for something like that to happen within those sorts of situations and those sorts of discussions and communities, I can kind of, it's still obviously very wrong and disgraceful, but I can kind of, you'd hear that about in sort of the idea of politics and things like that. You'd go, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I can see that would happen. But like you say, for the fact that this is just a video game, it's pixels on a fucking computer screen, and for people to go to that extent is something awful.
yeah, it was a real shame. But yeah, hopefully keys will be the rest of the keys will be underway here Monday, and hopefully there should be a very sizable portion of the community playing Dead Matter right now through the weekend. So if you are one of those guys, congratulations.
Yeah, I unfortunately am not one of those
Yeah.
guys, and I mean I work my IRL job on the weekends the most. That's where we're the busiest in the security industry here in the UK. So
Oh, I get
even
that.
even if I did have a key to the game, I wouldn't be touching it until at least Sunday, maybe Monday if I was lucky. So. I
Yeah.
have seen quite a lot of content creators on Twitter and things, though, saying that they've got their keys, they've been playing. There's a lot of clips coming up at the moment
Oh,
that are
good.
doing the rounds, showing various parts of the game. So I did see a video where it was showing. I can't remember who it was. It was a fairly big, well-known streamer where they were. It was a clip where they were running around shooting zombies. I think they had a friend with them at the time as well, and it looked so janky. It looked so like the zombies looked so weird. Like they didn't they were like turning on a weird axis, and it was all going
Yeah.
and I mean, granted, obviously it's a closed alpha, so we're not expecting at any point for this to be fully polished, ready for release by tomorrow. None of us are under that. I can't imagine any of us are under that, under that idea at this point. But I think it's looking, from what I've seen, it's going to have a long way to go. But I'll give them 100% credit, like you said at the beginning here, that at least they went onto Twitter and they were communicative, if that's even the right word.
That
They actually went onto Twitter and said, look, we're not going to blame it on anything else. We're not going to say it was a bit of lag or there was this happening. They actually say, we fucked up. We weren't ready for this. We underestimated it. We're really sorry. Here's what we're doing to fix it. And like you said at the beginning, I think that's the right way to do it. I think that's where more game studios and more developers need to take that route, need to use their platforms to admit their mistakes, apologize for it, and learn from those mistakes, and make sure they don't make them again in the near future. I think that's definitely the right way to go about it. So all the credit in the world to them for that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's certainly things that we would all agree are just weird. As far as the Axis thing, I mean, I remember seeing in one of the devlogs, like the bear. Whenever they first showed off the bear, uh, the guy was like shooting it, and the bear went to go do like a little paw swipe, and the guy like sidestepped, and the bear just kind of like the character model for the bear just kind of like tilted and followed it, and was still able to hit him with the paw swipe. So I mean, there's certainly like issues, but I think people came with the expectation that it wouldn't be like, quote, just another closed alpha game,
Yeah.
because I mean, let's see, what the game was supposed to come out originally in like late 2017, early 2018, something like that. And then
I think so. Yeah.
that got delayed due to staffing issues because of there was like some weird internal dilemma going on with the team. And then after that, it got delayed because they just weren't happy with the product at that time. I think that was in like 2019-ish
Right.
area. And then obviously got delayed again uh in earlier of this year. And that one people were hyped for because they said it was concrete and stuff and solid, a solid date. And then it was and then it wasn't. And so I think all that being said, people were expecting a more of a polished experience because almost every time they delayed, they were just like, look, it's good, but it's not as good as we want it to be. We want to give you guys the best experience possible. And so, whenever you see the game in its current state, which I mean, it's not like the worst. It's not bad. I mean, people are going to still be able to have a good time. And I know there's lots of features in the game right now as well. I've talked to plenty of people who have played it, and they're actually impressed with the amount of features that the game actually has. I mean, you got the hunting features in there, you got the base building features in there, you got well, I should say claiming features, but you can build like the watchtowers or walls or um base utility items like the water purifier or collector rather, and like you can like the electrical box system where you can bring in like an infrared heater into your greenhouse, things like that. um Plenty of stuff is already implemented in the game, and I think that, along with the developers being highly active in the community and transparent and developing actively with really frequent updates, hot patches, and what have you, will be able to carry the game through its rough launch,
Yeah.
through the people's expectations of what it would be, to where it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime there's a new sort of survival related game out there, it's immediately they're always sort of touted as the DayZ killer or something that as if DayZ's on this massive pedestal that everyone's trying to get up on with them. And I think to a degree, I think that can harm a new game like Dead Matter. That I think they should just be sort of concentrating on themselves. Obviously, I'm assuming that's what they're doing. I can't imagine that it would be much of a good idea to sort of tout yourself as a DayZ killer or as something
No.
to take over that spot. There's a part of me that kind of thinks that there will never be anything that will sort of overtake DayZ, but at the same time, competition's a good thing. So, like you say, as long as they keep vocal in the community, they keep throwing out good updates, lots of hot fixes, and like you say, if they've already got the amount of information, the amount of things in already that they have, with like you say, with things like the water purifiers, being able to build your towers, if they've got all that features in already, then surely they're off to a pretty decent start at this point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they never were cocky enough to label themselves as a DayZ killer. At least I wouldn't if I was
No.
if I was a fresh developer. I mean, that's
Yeah,
quite the
Archie, Boydie's not feeling well, so we're
claim to
doing it over
make,
here, mate. Feel
especially
free to
because
jump on into the
Bohemia
podcast
Interactive
as
is a
normal if you want,
legit,
mate.
big company. Well, not like AAA, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, shoot, dude, it's not like they just have DayZ; they have Arma as well.
Yeah,
Obviously. So I mean, they got skilled employees, they got skilled developers, they got games that have solidified themselves in the market. Um, so I mean, everyone has their issues with DayZ for various, usually legitimate reasons.
yeah,
But they DayZ has managed to absolutely stay on top of the survival genre. So whenever somebody thinks about, PC zombie game, now console zombie game, they're going to think DayZ.
yeah,
And no, I honestly don't think, I'm not sure if a game is going to be able to surpass that, at least in the near future. It would take a long time. Um, it's possible that if Dead Matter were to have come out a bit more polished and with a 100% smooth launch date, that I think there would have been a very noticeable dent in the player base of Dead or a DayZ that we were just discussing previously. I
Yeah,
think if all of the backers were to have their keys right now, uh, DayZ wouldn't have the numbers it has right now. And I just think
yeah,
that's has to do with the community being small comparatively to say just like the battle royale genre, you know.
yeah,
We the community shares players, so if they're not playing one game, they're going to be playing another one, if at all,
absolutely.
just because of curiosity. They may go back to DayZ eventually the same day, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we had a similar thing in the community when Dead Side came out as well. I think
Mhm.
that first weekend where Dead Side was first properly released, so to speak. I think it's still an alpha technically, but when it was first properly
Yeah.
came out to what it is, I think we did see a bit of a drop in the overall player numbers of DayZ. And like you said, that's to be expected because it's a big community that shares games. It's one
Mhm.
of those things where you're always going to see that dip, and it's going to happen with pretty much any game, I would have thought at this point.
As long as it's well marketed and advertised, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it looks like as well that Archie is on his way in. He's going to be with us any minute.
Oh, good man.
So yeah, I'm always interested to get Archie's take on things, whether it be DayZ or anything else really.
Oh, for sure.
Let's have a look here. So Lobo Severa in my chat here just says it's got a lot with having a company take it over and completely abandon when its shares drop. Yeah, I mean, luckily I think we don't really see a huge amount of that. I don't really see many games being sort of, especially in the survival genre anyway, sort of being abandoned in any way, shape, or form. I think most games tend to have, tend to still have quite a good cycle to them. They still get good development cycles.
Yeah,
But
well, shoot, even Miscreated is still going somewhat
yeah,
strong through all their their issues, you know. So
yeah. Which I mean, the last time I saw, they only had I think they only had a handful of people playing at any given time as well. So it was kind of the fact that they're still going and still clutching onto that last little bit. Then fair dues to them.
hey, Archie.
What's going on, Path? It's good to see you, man. Well,
Yeah, man.
it's been a while.
Long time no talk, bro.
Dude, I used to play Daisy Underground with this cat, and he is a monster. Just so you guys know, we started our
Happy days.
YouTube channels basically at the same time, and we've been growing like on a parallel scale the whole time.
I remember you mentioning that actually on one of the episodes of the podcast a few weeks back.
Yeah, I shouted you out, Path, on the
Oh yeah.
yeah, because somebody needs to. If Dead Matter does become successful, I mean, your channel's obviously going to become successful with it. That typical gamer kid that started his channel based on GTA 5 a few years ago.
Oh
Like I remember
yeah.
when he had like 800 subs, and now he has like 8 million, and he's just like a nasally kid, you know.
Holy
But,
crap. Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, good to hear from you, man. Good to see you, Brim.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, Archie. I'm glad you can jump on because, like I say, I was saying to Pathfinder there, it's always good to have you on because you're obviously very knowledgeable about most things. I'm pretty much just trying to
I'm
keep
just
my
full
head
of
above
shit,
water
man.
at this point. So, and funny enough, you have popped up in one of the topics for today as well. Something about special investigation into servers. So we'll come on to that a little bit later on. But what's your sort of take, Archie, on the whole Dead Matter thing? Have you sort of kept up with it in the last sort of week or so? What's your sort of thoughts going on?
I mean, I kind of I talk a lot of shit about early access games because for the most part, I feel like they're just cash grabs, and I
Yeah,
kind of put out there how I feel about Dead Matter, or as I call it, Derp Matter. But pretty much the only reason I want Dead Matter to succeed is so that Pathfinder's channel can become successful, and that's just being honest. I don't like there's I don't see anything as far as how they rolled out the release and how they're handling it. It's like a bunch of friends that have no idea how to manage a business. They're trying to manage a business,
Yeah.
and like if me and a bunch of my buddies that go out to the bar together decide to open our own bar, that's probably how it would go, the opening day. But
Yeah. A lot of mess and a lot of paperwork to do afterwards.
Yeah, it was not good.
a
It
lot
was
of
rough.
like trying to buy people's trust back, you know, with the keys. I heard the
Yeah.
keys were getting duplicated or cloned or whatever, and
Oh yeah, I got my key, but then it got revoked because apparently it was a duplicate as well.
yeah, the whole thing is just
But apparently that was they. I don't know. They said I don't know much about web-based security and stuff like that. They said it was like a Cloudflare issue or something.
yeah.
And they put it up. I don't even know, but yeah, that was so. I mean, yeah, we actually talked about that. Yeah, the launch was horrendous. I told him I was like, if you want to think, if you were to think about a launch day nightmare, you would probably think something similar to what happened with Dead Matter's launch.
I've never
'Cause
seen anything like that personally.
neither have I. No, it was bad, man. It was
The only
bad.
the only thing I could compare it to is when again GTA 5 came out and the servers online, GTA Online, the
Logo
servers just
Severa,
kept
thank you
taking a
very much
shit.
for the
You had to go to that
subscription, my friend. Thank
mission
you
in the
very
parking
much.
lot and it
Welcome
just
on
kept
in.
loading, you know,
Much
Yeah.
appreciated.
infinitely. But I mean, they're a small company, but I think the problem is these early access companies make these huge promises, like I was saying on the last podcast. Uh, and I'm not gonna lie, I take the shit out of this game a lot
Sure.
because I saw, like I said last time, Dead Matter, Scum, Survive the Nights, all those games. They know there's that huge hole in the survival horror, zombie survival sandbox genre, um, and they're trying to capitalize on that. So I don't know, man. I'm not saying uh, like I called it, but I mean, just watching all these other games come out that
Hang
that
on.
were early
Right.
access, it's they should have been better prepared, man, because they knew how much hype was behind this game since 2000. I initially put money in on it in like 2018, early 2019. That's how long I've been waiting. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I backed the second I heard about it. Because it's interesting that there is that hole in the community. Like I don't even know what could fill it. We all have like this like untangible like idea of what we want in a survival game, and nothing has been able to quite fulfill that need for a lot of us. And so that's what, like you said, makes way for a lot of these companies to come in there and promise the world, or an apocalyptic world at least, to fill
Yeah.
that gap, like Scum and Dead Matter. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that the intentions of those companies are bad, although it could obviously mean that they promise more and get themselves amped up more than is realistic for sure. I mean, that's always going to be a possibility.
well, you have like DayZ pretty much put the whole genre on the map. I mean, some people say that it was Stalker, but realistically, a lot. I think
Well,
most
Stalker
people,
wasn't multiplayer, was it?
right? It wasn't.
That's the difference.
Yeah, and so the the thing is, like, DayZ is so ambitious. You know what I mean? It's such a. I mean, tell me another game where you can go in 99% of the buildings, chop down 100% of the trees, kill everything you see that's living. You know what I mean? People get hung up on the bugs, and so they think, "Oh, I need to. I fucking hate this game. I need to play another game." So they'll go look for a game that's similar, that gives them the same, freedom of choice and experience. And there's really just not one.
And they can't find it. Yeah.
The closest thing I've found to DayZ, honestly, is probably like State of Decay, but it's the different engine, and it's a different experience altogether. But it's definitely as buggy though. But
It's
I think,
true.
yeah. But the other thing is with these early access games, I mean, effectively from the day you launch, you're hemorrhaging money because you have all your money, and
Yeah.
you have to be focused on developing the game. And these
Hmm.
companies, there's no law in America for sure, or anything that says they have to finish this game. Like they could just like there's a company called Code Hatch that they made games like Heat, and they made another game I can't even remember the name of. It was like a medieval game that was really popular, but they're like notorious for getting all their EA money and then just leaving the project. And
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I hate
yeah,
people that do that.
yeah, and
I'm
these
not sure what the rules are in Canada, but that's where they're based.
okay, yeah, they yeah, I knew that actually. Sorry, I just woke up. I, just to clarify, me and Boydie talked like 4 or 5 days ago about me coming on, so I didn't just like ambush you, Path. I apologize, dude. I didn't
No,
know
it's
he was
fine.
sick. I set my alarm and got up and combed my hair and everything. But
Archie comes here. They're talking about dirt matter. I gotta get in this.
no, and honestly, I troll a lot. That's just me, and
No, dude.
I hope the game
I love
succeeds.
you, man.
Yeah, I hope it succeeds because I need something else to play in the meantime when I get mad at DayZ. Because
Yeah.
honestly, the mods are what's going to kill DayZ. You know,
Really?
yeah, the mods they've changed the whole player base. We had an event on our server last night, and the
Yeah.
kids, it was like we were at Chuck E. Cheese. They were just like, "Give me more, give me more, give me more
Oh,
tickets, pizza, give me this." I'm like, "Why do you need an LAR? Why do you need the easiest gun in the game?" You know,
yeah.
like anyway.
Oh, yeah, because you said you were going spawning kits for them, right?
Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
pre-selected kits. It was set up. That's all they would need, and they're like, "I don't want this. I want a sniper rifle." It's like,
Uh,
but
like
it's yeah, the
the discussion
community.
of mods, dude, that's actually a good discussion in this context right here because like there's the argument to be made that like DayZ is super popular and is still alive at least because of the modding community, which I think is a pretty strong argument because a lot of people get bored of the vanilla experience.
Yeah.
Uh, even though I still like going on vanilla every now and again because it just has that there's just a certain difficulty and feel to it that
Yeah,
is missed in mods. But you can look at a game like DayZ, who's been alive since 2013 through many rough patches. By the way, certainly the history of the game is not an
yeah,
direct upward slope at all. There's been dips. So if you have a game that was made in an now outdated engine with the help of the modding community stay relevant and not only relevant like we were talking about me and Brimstone earlier is actually thriving at around 16 to 18K player base. I mean daily,
that's
that's
just on
pretty.
PC, you know.
Yeah, that
Not
just
even-
on PC. I mean, that is really good. And so I think that in terms of like developing Dead Matter, oh yeah, they got a hell of a long way to go. I mean, the game some of the stuff we were talking about earlier is just not some of the bugs, the like the zombies on like an axis, but that's actually now that I'm thinking about that, a lot of the zombies on an axis that hit you, that's still in DayZ as well. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure what one can do from a developer standpoint to fix that, especially whenever you go into the horde feature that Dead Matter has, where literally if you keep making sound, zombies will keep spawning in. So I mean, on that kind of a level, to make sure all the animals, all the zombies don't spin on an axis to hit you with the player's erratic movements trying to dodge and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a developer. It would be nice to see it kind of go away, but
Well, at the end of the day, they're a super small,
yeah,
independent development company. They're not a AAA game, so they're gonna have bugs and stuff like that. And a
sure.
lot of this stuff I was looking at was it just needs to be optimized. I mean, now that
Hmm.
they've got a little more money, which I don't know if they do or not. I'm assuming they sold more after the launch. Um, I hope they didn't get refunded a lot, but
Oh,
they,
they probably got a few.
yeah, but they could. I mean, honestly, they could put some of that money into new. I mean, aesthetically, the environments were gorgeous. It
Oh
was
yeah.
the even the gunplay mechanics and animations were great. It was, I mean, if you have a zombie game, you need to focus on the zombies. And I mean, the same goes for DayZ because I can't stand the zombies in DayZ.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Well, they're just annoying.
yeah, they're more of a nuisance, and there's
Yeah.
too many of them, and they run like dog shit. But
Hmm.
on Dead Matter, I think if they would have just focused on, because that was the first thing I saw when I started watching it, was it looked like that old House on Haunted Hill game or whatever it was called, House of the
Oh
Dead, the
my god,
arcade
that
game from
brought
the
me back.
90s. Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they kind of look like
they
wax
look.
museum figurines.
Yeah, man. And I was like, I see what they're trying to do with these like,
Yeah.
modular skulls and stuff. It looks cool, but I mean, they should have cleaned that up a little more than the gunplay because
Yeah.
everything else looked great. And then you just see these zombies and the way they're so derpy and the way they move and fall. It was just I mean, I get the frame drops and stuff. It's not optimized that great yet,
Sure.
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the zombies, I mean, I will say to their credit, if you if you were to compare the zombies that was back in 2017 to the zombies they have now, it's a lot better, but it's still it's gone from full derp to somewhat derp. So there's improvements there for sure, but a lot still needs to be made. There was a question that was asked, I think it was in Clean's stream, and they asked about the zombie models, if that was the final product, and they adamantly said no. No,
Oh yeah,
it's
if that was the final
not the final.
product, that would
Yeah,
be bad.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
just like, that's not the final product, don't worry. We they said they got more coming. So but like, I know that they do want the whole point that drew me into the game was the fact that they advertised the game as the zombies are the primary threat, right? And that's essentially what a survival gamer is going to want, right? They want zombies being a threat. And so that's what makes the survival worth it. That's what makes the world dangerous. It shouldn't be the players that make the world dangerous necessarily, like as a primary issue. It should be the zombies, because you're going to run into zombies way more frequently, or at least you should,
Yeah.
in a zombie apocalypse. So they need to be able to actually be a threat to you, not just something you can walk around. And so they put in systems in place to where, I mean, I remember looking at some of their stress tests where they had like anywhere from like 100 to 200 zombies on the screen at the same time with the full gore system, and it wasn't spiking the FPS counter or dropping the FPS counter at all, no lag. um and like, they were doing some tests where if you were to go into a building, hit that fire alarm, run out the back entrance, the zombies will just flood, into the building. And so if somebody follows you in there, they put out these cool scenarios where they can get trapped in there with the zombie as well. Or you can just sink and wait for people to go into like the police department or some other area that'll have high tier or mid tier loot. Go in there, then you can follow them, hit the fire alarm, and just wait for them all to die by the zombies inside. Um, but like, you make a noise, you can throw a tin can, it attracts the zombies, things like that. That DayZ also has is implemented in there. But the thing that I like is that the more noise you make, no matter where you are on the map, the more zombies will spawn in out of sight areas. So if you're in the middle of the forest and you're hunting, you need to be pretty you need to be quick about it. There should be an urgency about it, because that gunshot's going to attract, even out there, a couple of zombies. So if you don't have the gear ready to prepare for not only hunting and shooting the animal, but also harvesting it in a timely manner, you gotta also think now in the back of your mind, I might have to deal with a couple of zombies coming my way. As long as I'm not near an urban area, then you're going to have to deal with a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with DayZ as well, isn't it? Is that I think I've said it on podcasts before, where I just don't find the zombies in DayZ to be a threat. Depending on the server you play on, if a certain server's got mods, like Boydie was showing last weekend, one of the servers he's been playing on has a zombie mod where there's a priest zombie that it took like 20 hits with an axe to take it down.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, and that was just looking, and it just looked like a regular zombie, but that mod had various different zombie types, and I've played on a couple of servers where there were different zombie types, where it took nearly an entire 75 round AK drum mag to drop this one like mutant looking zombie that looked completely different to any other. So I think if Dead Matter can get that down, like you said, it's zombies in an apocalyptic situation like these games tend to be based on. Those are going to be your most immediate and biggest threat the second that it kicks off. So I think that if they can get that right, then they're going to be onto a winner to a degree. But sort of switching gears slightly, I want to go into to a couple of questions in the chat here. Dewan has asked, has the NDA been lifted? So I didn't know there was an NDA.
No, there's a stinking NDA, and I hate it. Like
That's what turned me off.
You're going to freaking put me on a soapbox right now.
No, dude, that honestly, um, I think you and I both check all the boxes for partner because there's another guy who's really upset about it. That dude Thor, he's in the same streaming
Oh
group.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that right there is just nepotism on like a flagrant scale.
Yeah,
They're just hooking their buddies up and
the
basically
partners.
right. And then these partnered streamers, of course, that makes sense for marketing, but a lot of these 90% of the people I saw that were partnered, they have, you know, a thousand a thousand followers,
Yeah, you don't know
14
who they
average
are, do you?
viewers. I've never heard of them. And
You've
then you
never heard of them.
right,
I
and then
I
you look
make that freaking point.
right, and then I was looking at and this isn't me throwing shade at other streamers. I'm saying I'm throwing shade at who they chose.
Chose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you go on the streams and the production quality is shit, the mic quality is shit, but it's that they're just wanting those views because Dead Matter is so hyped. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I applied, I was denied. They said I didn't reach the minimum requirements. I'm way over the minimum requirements.
Your minimum requirement. What are you talking? You have a bigger follower than I do.
And that, well, thank you. You're pretty
Mhm.
close though.
We're
And
close, but
yeah.
you're still bigger. No,
And then on Twitch, they said you have to have 5K. I've got over 9K. And they
yeah,
were like, after reviewing your channel, you don't meet the minimum requirements. And I was just like, what the fuck? So I started looking into it more, and I'm seeing they're denying all these people, but the people that they're accepting have been in their Discord for a long time. So it looks like if I were to make a game and then only let my buddies that have been in my Discord the whole time stream it, you know what I mean? That's kind of a
yeah.
shitty, because I feel like the only reason they would do something like that, and I didn't mean to steal the mic here, but
For it.
I've not been following this nearly as close as Path, but I feel like they were just trying to control criticism because they knew how bad the game was going to look on launch. And
I
that's
mean,
kind of shady to me.
it's certainly possible that's the case, and I don't like the NDA because I mean, the select big streamers who they did partner, like Big Fry or Clean, for example. I mean, they've already live streamed it. You know, thousands of people have already seen the game and
Right.
its bugs. They saw that Big Fry couldn't drive like a flipping four wheeler for a long time because at least on single player where it's harder on your system because it was just making his game stutter a lot because it's not optimized like we already covered. And so I mean they've already seen like the second you allowed live streams to take place and not just pre-recorded footage from partners, you've lost the need to have an NDA because everybody's going to be able to look at those VODs.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was thinking the same thing.
So like I just don't see the point anymore. Like I understand it to be a perk, I guess. But even then, I mean, like I don't see the need to have the majority of your player base on an NDA whenever you have a select few kinds of people who nobody knows about. And I made that point in my drama video about
Yeah, I saw it.
Dead
Yeah.
Matter. I was like, nobody knows who these partners are. Like they don't meet the requirements that you put out, which is fine, I guess, because they can just be grandfathered in.
And just to be
Uh,
clear, they're Dead Matter partners, not
yeah,
YouTube or Twitch partners. They're just
yeah,
Dead Matter media partners.
they're dead matter media partners. But then you have people like Archie who apply, and I don't know, maybe you're just too much of a spicy lad for them. Maybe
I mean, I would
maybe
have been honest, but I feel like, when I was watching a couple of those checkmark streamers, they were being way too polite. Like they were
really,
overlooking, they were completely ignoring a lot of like extremely. I mean, yes, it's an early access game and stuff like that, but they were
yeah.
like, I was watching Clean and he couldn't pick this gun up, and I could tell he was getting frustrated, but he wasn't saying anything.
Yeah.
So it was.
And I
I,
think that there's a mixture like like number one they're probably trying to have like a professional courtesy kind of thing, not like everyone sees it. So I mean, it would just be bad to like roast the developers while they're in the game with you for you not being able to
yeah.
pick up an AK. But at the same time, there is a part of you that's just like, I wonder if they are just picking nice people. you
Well,
know,
what's the point of an NDA though? Because I
I
mean,
don't
it's like
know.
the old saying, "Locks keep honest people honest." If someone's gonna steal your code, if someone's gonna put out content on your game, if someone's gonna basically if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. I
Yeah.
mean, if people are gonna stream it into their private Discord, there's no way to detect that. You know,
Yeah, it would literally
it's
take
I
somebody
feel
to
like
tell
they
them from
right.
the
So in
inside.
my experience, there's two things they could be doing, in my opinion. Either they're trying to LARP as a AAA development company who does NDAs on early access, or they didn't want their game getting put out there. They wanted to control the content that was put out on their game. So like when
Yeah,
they if you notice when they were doing the partnered streams, they always had one of the devs running around with the media partner, right?
yeah,
This is this and this is this and this is going to be fixed and this is going to be fixed and let me spawn you in this gun and you know what I mean? And they were just kind of showing off. It's like when you go over to somebody's house and it's like, look at my shit, look at my other shit. Don't worry
yeah.
about the hole in the roof that's about to collapse and kill everybody. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Look at this fancy TV. That's it just felt like they were trying to control the narrative. I don't mean to like Trump speak here, but like I feel like they were keeping them on rails. They were only letting them see so much. And if they would have not had that NDA and people would have just been able to, you know,
Yeah.
explore by themselves without, you know, a chaperone.
No,
Um,
I agree,
Yeah.
man. If you I believe if you go back and you watch Big Fry's stream, he actually was able to just play the game without a developer there.
I'm gonna have to watch that VOD.
But for like 90% of the streams, you're absolutely correct. 99% of the streams, that he's the only one that I saw. And there may be more that I don't know about because nobody knows who the partners are.
He
But
he probably
uh
fucking ran away. You know, just logged in, and the guy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna show you a boot. Just stay here in this house, and I'll come back and get you." And Big Fries, I don't know him, but he probably just skated out and was like, "Fuck that, I'm gonna go explore." It seemed
probably.
like they were being having their hands held the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with the NDA. I just it seems irrelevant at the second they put up a live stream and allowed the VOD to stay. It just doesn't. It
Right.
just makes it more inconvenient. And they denied me partnership too. Because well, there's three reasons. The first reason was because whenever I first started covering Dead Matter, I had a misunderstanding about the uh free usage or transformative usage of videos on YouTube. And so remember, did you ever hear about Dead Matter News, that channel?
No.
Well,
I'm
Dead
gonna
Matter
be
News.
honest with you before you carry on. The only fucking reason I know I even give a shit about Dead Matter, that I even kept up with Dead Matter, that I even know Dead Matter is out right now, is because of your channel. I've never seen anyone else cover Dead Matter like you cover Dead Matter.
Yeah.
And except for the official Dead Matter channel, which is extremely scripted, polished videos, which you can tell if you watch their gameplay footage. I said it last time I was here. It's scripted as hell. I said it every time on the stream. You can tell it's scripted. Their interactions with the other bandit and stuff like that. The
Yeah,
only videos I've seen on Dead Matter were on Pathfinder Plays YouTube channel. I don't when I found out you didn't get a media partnership and they went right over your head. That kind of killed it for me. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, it pissed me off. I used a video, just the video, not the audio, but I used the audio from a partner back whenever I had like 800 subscribers, and I used his video so I could put audio over it. And I thought, oh, I didn't know where to find the footage at that time because I was like new. I usually just recorded my own like let's plays. I've never looked for footage before that was sanctioned, for use. So yeah, I thought I could use his, and then I put my script over it, and then he tried to contact me on Twitter, and I just started using Twitter. I never got a notification for it, and so I got like copyright striked. And then they used that as a reason to deny me partnership because I used the partner's video, and then forced him to copyright strike me. And I was like, why are you making it sound malicious? Like I was just a stinking new YouTuber who didn't know what the hell he
that
was
just
doing.
shows you how out of touch they are with their community. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can't like content creators are the largest marketing source for games. They are,
Yeah.
especially independent non AAA games. content creators are the reason that people know about games, they see games played, stuff like that, you know, and to be out of touch with which content creators are really pushing content for your game just says a lot. It says a lot.
I have the most out of by far. I have 75 videos, and the game's not even out yet.
Yeah,
75 videos.
that's every single one of those are on Dead Matter.
Every single one. 75 videos of Dead Matter. That's not counting my other videos.
I don't know how the hell you milk so much fucking content out of that game, but
And it's all good. It's all good. It's not repetitive at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I would like to see it succeed for your channel.
I would too, man. Believe me. I feel like it won't though.
Not after
anymore. Not
Well,
because
I mean,
what
we all went through 0.62 with DayZ, and everybody quit the game. You know?
yeah.
And then
Well,
they came back. So maybe Dead Matter will come back, but I don't
well,
know.
my issue isn't that Dead Matter is going to fail initially. My issue is now that because I'm not partnered, I don't have access to releasing NDA sanctioned views. I drew everybody, or at least a lot of people, to Dead Matter, and now there's a monopoly on the views with the partners who are able to put out recorded footage. And so I no longer am putting out relevant videos because I can't, because now the partners have access to the in-game functions, and as long as they get the okay from the developers, they're allowed to make these exclusive videos.
Have you done a video on that?
Have I done a video on that?
Yeah. Like, have you done a video talking about how now, even though you've pushed the hell out of Dead Matter for the last over a year, you can't be partnered and you can't put out content? I mean, it's honestly, it's like if they would have told Frankie on PC, we don't want you streaming or making DayZ content anymore. You know,
Yeah,
he's the only reason that game is relevant.
it's true.
So I don't know, man. I honestly, on a personal level, for you being like a friend and an acquaintance from way back,
Yeah,
that just completely turns me off. Like I kind of want to make I've already been copy struck on YouTube. I'll get it again. I'll make a video on it, just completely shitting on him. I don't care, you know.
I appreciate it, man.
I think that's one of the best bits about a new game, and especially if it can succeed as well, because you do get guys like Pathfinder who come in that make all this content that sort of, like you say, basically advertise a game for free. If that game succeeds, that channel then succeeds as well. So I think it can only be a positive thing in that sense, and hoping, like you say, that the game does succeed. But Helkiana in the chat here brought up a fairly good point with the question here, saying, do you think they'll be able to maintain the NDA with supposedly 50k people trying to play closed alpha? Because if you've got that many people playing, streaming, making YouTube videos on it, there's like you said, there's no way they can really keep up with that NDA at that point, surely.
The NDA is already being broken somewhere.
I mean, like I said, locks keep honest people honest. I've already seen it streamed into Discords. I had a friend of mine stream it into Discord, and we were laughing about how derpy it looked.
Yeah, it's already, the NDA is already broke. So all these small Discord channels that nobody has access to are all the backers, 25,000 or so backers right now that have the game. There's a good portion of them are streaming it other places that they're not going to have any idea about.
Right. I mean, they're streaming into Discord. They're streaming on, whatever. And somebody's asking in chat what an NDA is, Path, if you want to tell them that.
An NDA is a non-disclosure agreement, and essentially prohibits not just content creators, but everybody from sharing audio, video, discussions about a game in closed alpha. Which is why we were talking about why the NDA was such a big deal for me personally as a content creator who's not partnered. If you get a media partnership with Dead Matter, you get to create videos and do live streams that, as long as they're okay with it, on your channel, and everybody else can't. And so that's why the NDA is a big deal. And that's why the NDA doesn't necessarily make sense, because like we were just saying, people are streaming it privately and locally on their own small Discord channels, and there's no way to monitor that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend when he got he was also a content creator, used to play DayZ a lot. Good friend of mine who I know personally in real life, and when he got a message from a company who was making a motorcycle racing game, and it was an indie company, you know, very very small development team, and they said, look, we'd like to obviously get the name out there. We're planning on releasing the game. You have to sign an NDA. He signed the NDA. Everything was fine. They gave him a Steam key. He played the game. He enjoyed it. Didn't stream it because he wasn't able to at that time. They eventually said, yeah, you can stream it, make a couple of YouTube videos as long as you don't basically call us shit. But at one point he was like, they were like, you cannot tell anyone that this game even exists. When they first contacted him, he was like, no, we got a select handful of people who we're going to tell that this game is even in development. Next to no one knows. And the second he was told that, he messages me and says, hey, check this out. And I went round his house that day and he showed me what was going on. And he showed me the game, and it was a decent game. Like, for what it was there was nothing wrong with it. They didn't really need an NDA in place for that specific game. I can imagine with some games it kind of makes sense, but in the sense of Dead Matter, it's like we've said, it almost seems like they're trying to control the narrative about the game. They're trying to keep only the positive information out there by controlling who can put out the content on it and saying, look, here's what you can put out. Don't say anything else, and then that obviously is going to be a problem then.
I mean, I don't like blame them, right? Like if your upcoming game in a competitive genre like survival where everybody knows exactly what they want. I mean, I get it. You're going to feel the need, and you're going to want to be able to control the narrative a bit and show off the highlights and the good stuff in hopes that that will draw them in and allow them to at least temporarily overlook the bad stuff to give you enough time to fix that stuff, right? Like, I get it, and that's not necessarily like a bad thing, but the whole issue is having NDA loopholes for partners, because that just undoes everything. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah,
That's the crux.
they didn't want the hype to die for their game, and it's dead. That's all. That's what I think it is.
Well, it
They
was the
did,
launch that absolutely killed it, I think. That launch failure, because the hype was huge, actually. Like, I was putting this last week, I was putting out like daily videos for Dead Matter in anticipation for the launch. Like, I reached like, the metric on YouTube analytics, like per 48 hours.
yeah.
Uh I an all-time high for me, I got like 26,000 per 48 hours, and that was the most I've ever gone before. And the
Really good.
second the launch failed, I'm like down to I haven't let me look. I haven't even looked today. I'm scared.
We need to be making a video on the catastrophic failure of the launch, because I'm telling you that would, as well as I do, that would do good. That'd probably trend, because I don't know, man. I know you're still kind of loyal to them, but it's
Yeah.
like watching. It's like me watching someone kick a friend in the head that's been like trying to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
aggravated now, so
I'm going. They told me that they didn't give me a generic. I appreciate this at least. They didn't give me a generic. They took their time
yeah.
denying me. They they took the time denying me partnership, because I was waiting for like 20 minutes while they were typing up their responses to my application. The first one was what we already discussed, the video taking. The second one was I made that video about their map change. Instead of the game being one huge open world, they went to making it separate, large open worlds that
Can I
you
just
can
say
access.
some? I want to say
Sure.
something right here before I lose a train of thought. That's another thing they kept like low key as fuck.
Yeah.
They
Well, that's
didn't
why I
want
made a video on it.
Yeah, they didn't want people knowing that the map was going to be in two parts, because they were
Yeah.
still selling it as an open world sandbox survival. They didn't want people knowing that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
it's just
mean,
more it's
somebody
more
messaged me, and I was like, holy crap. I was like, that's big news. And I didn't think it was going to be a big deal because the developers leaked it themselves. I think it was Reggie Bless. A guy named Lento asked the question on the map, and Reggie Bless, one of the developers, answered. And then somebody else freaked out about it and sent me a message who I don't know who they are. I don't even know. Yeah, I haven't heard from them since. And that's when I was like, holy crap, I got to get in there and look at all this. And then I found out that the map wasn't going to be this singular massive map. Although I understand the reasons for doing it the way they are, that's not the issue. You know, I was like, the issue is the communication and transparency. But that video, they put that as a reason for denying me because I was spreading misinformation. They said, and
But it was correct.
it was correct information based on what they were saying at the time. Because in that video I shared, I didn't say I'll have to go back and look, but I don't think I went off on my own personal uh whims on what I think is going on. I always am sure to share Discord screenshots of what they have said themselves and then give my thoughts on those.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean that they that's the second reason, and then the third reason is apparently I attack partners on social media, which I made a vague comment on Twitter about. Well, I don't even know what it was about. It was so stupid. Oh yeah. Whenever they announced, and this was a long-standing policy. Once again, the policy is not the issue. It's the issue that they let the information of that policy die down to where it was all of a sudden a surprise to everybody again. And then the partners were acting snarky about it. The partners got the key, the game key, 2 weeks before everybody else for testing purposes.
That's when I
And like,
refunded. When you made that video, that's when I refunded all of my pledges because I saw the writing on the wall. I knew what they were doing.
yeah. And so I made a comment because I saw some partners being like, all these backers getting salty up in here because we got the key first. And so I'm still a backer. I'm not a partner. So I was like, well shoot. I was like, I gotta stand up for the rest of the community here. And so I made a comment saying the hypocrisy of the partners right now, whenever they were complaining just a few days ago about a delay, now that they got their key is just disgusting. You know, I was like, it's just like it was just so hypocritical. And so I made a tweet about that, and then I'm assuming that's what they were referencing because I don't recall any other
It sounds like
online.
there's some toxic ass people in there that personally don't like you, which makes
Well,
no sense because you're not a toxic guy.
I know. I know. I have a feeling I know who it is. But I don't want to say because I don't know for sure. Um, but I know for a fact I have like 4 or 5 of the developers in my Discord. Like most of the developers don't have an issue with me. Um, they like me. They communicate with me on a daily basis. Um, but there I know for a fact there's at least 1 or 2 that like just does not that does not like me, and they have enough power to overrule or make that sole choice of who gets partnered or not.
But would you want to
Yeah.
be partnered with as a content partner at this point? I mean, does it? That's
I
like
would want to just so because my personal feelings about how they run their business aside, I have catered to a community that is looking forward to this game. And my personal feelings aside from the developers, they have been able to create, at least in theory, a game that people are enjoying right now. And regardless of how I feel about them as people, as developers, they've done a good enough job to keep people satisfied right now for those who actually have the game, launch debacle aside. And I still believe in the idea of dead matter. I do. I really do. I think if they can actually continue with hot fixes and frequent updates and optimization, people will overlook the launch day debacle because they'll be in the game enjoying it. And as long as a game is fun, even with bugs, we see it with DayZ, as long as a game is fun and there's a community and there's engagement, it will survive. And as long as they capitalize on that fun with the additions and the balancing and the benchmarks and all that, then it'll do just fine. And there's my community feels the same exact way on YouTube, and I think I have like 518 now on my Discord, and they all feel the same way. They're all excited, and so it would be uh kind of I don't know. They come to me for information on Dead Matter. And so I feel a certain obligation to at least try to keep giving them information as much as I can on the game. And so I would like to be partnered just for that reason, so I could keep giving them, relevant information, not for any like point of pride for myself. I just want to push content. That's what I do. That's what you do. That's what we all do. That's what we all want to do. We want to push
Why it's
content.
even worse that they told you no.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that yeah, there's a couple people that don't like me for whatever reason, but they said it. They told me their PR slash level designer Metamoth. He told me that he's like I'm not just saying this, but you should apply again in the future. And so I'm going to apply again. I'm going to apply again. But if I don't get it that time, I'll probably apply again whenever the key situation gets sorted out and they don't have to deal with that stress anymore. So they have more time to deal with my application. Uh, if they don't accept me this time, then I'll have to figure out something else to do because I just simply won't be able to keep up with the game anymore until
Yeah.
actually NDA releases, which is very unfortunate. But
Do the NDAs cover, or does the NDA cover memes? Because I have a lot of meme ideas.
And let's be honest,
I
we
don't
all want to see them.
What'd you say?
We all want to see any meme that you can come up with about Dead Matter. We all want. We definitely need to be seeing these.
Yeah, maybe that's. I mean, I don't know. It all seems nefarious to me, man. Do they have the? I know we're talking a lot about Dead Matter on a DayZ podcast, so I apologize. Do they have like? I saw their base building system, and it legitimately looks exactly like DayZ, except the holograms are a different color. And then you can put like newspaper on windows. Is that in the playable version right now?
yeah. I talked with some of the backers, and they have said that the base fortifications is what they label it as, not base building. That is in the game right now. I actually like their idea to where you can't just build out in the middle of nowhere, or you can't do like you see in like DayZ mod, the people over at Green Mountain, they always have like these giant like fortifications built into the radio tower or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can't do that, and you can't unless mods come in.
All
But like
freestanding.
yeah, like no freestanding structures. Thank you. So you can only go for any pre-existing building in the world. You can then exclusively fortify. So you have to go to the electrical box, switch the electrical box on to claim the building, and then you have the capability to put
Jacob
down
Mango,
traps.
welcome
And
on back, my friend.
there's like noise traps such as like glass shards or tin cans, and then there's lethal traps. Like they want to put in a shotgun trap, like in like Saw, and then but they also have like a lawnmower blade trap, which actually look terrifying. Um,
Is it
eh,
is it in Unity? Is that the engine they're using?
no, they're using Unreal Engine.
Using Unreal? I can tell you this because I'm working on a game in my spare time. I've
Ooh.
seen like 90% of the assets that they're using on the asset store.
Yeah,
Like
and they
they're like,
haven't hid that, thankfully.
yeah. So, but it's like these guys raised $1 million and they're buying $4 assets. You know?
Yeah, they obviously the main issue would be for me like if they were to keep them and try to push them as their own, right? Like because there are a lot of games that do that. Like what was it? What was it? Days of Dragons or whatever. I don't know if you followed that
No, I
huge
never heard of it.
kerfuffle. Well, I follow a YouTuber called IGP. I never would have heard of the game otherwise. But he just plays a bunch of indie games and stuff. But this game called Day of Dragons is like this dragon RP game. um and they were pushing it out and showing off artwork and stuff, and they were claiming that it was theirs, and all it took was like a 5-second cert, and they raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars for this game, for this idea. Apparently a lot of people want a dragon RP game.
The RP
um
as a dragon?
Yeah, where you come out of a little egg and then you grow up as a dragon.
Fucking furries, man.
It's something, dude. I'm telling you,
Scalies.
people want a scale. That's gross. But yeah. And then there was
Zeroy,
this
thank you for the follow, my
huge
friend. Welcome on in.
just
Posture check.
kerfuffle about them
I'm
using these
surviving.
assets and pushing them off like
Just.
they themselves designed it. And so my thing is like it's fine that you're using assets with the intent to actually change them eventually. Now I don't know what assets are theirs and what assets are not theirs. But and I have no idea what it takes to even make a game in terms of financial cost. And now that they have actually launched the the leaking money, as you put it, is now in full effect. So
I mapped my whole game for $700.
dang, dude.
Most of the money goes into hiring people that for coding. And I hired
Yeah.
guys. I hired 2 guys from Pakistan off Fiverr.com for $15 an hour, and they work 2 hours a day when I hire them because I'm not a coder. I'll map all day long, and I'll I can put in pathing for NPCs and stuff. But other than that, I'm telling you, from someone who's worked with those engines and is working on their own game, it's not very impressive, dude. After 2 years and $1 million, I don't know. The whole thing seems extremely shady to me.
I
And
th-
then
I think I think I think that if it is as nefarious as you think, which I don't blame you, because their PR practices are atrocious. Um, I think it'll show eventually. Like at 100%, absolutely. Like people will be like, "Aha! I knew it."
yeah,
I think because it always does. Every time a game comes out and people are like, I'm not so sure about this. And then all it takes is a matter of time for like 80% of the community to be like, no, it's a scam. And then nobody ever plays it again. And it goes into a downward spiral into irrelevancy. It always happens.
yeah. The problem is with Dead Matter is just like it was with Survive the Nights. It's the cognitive dissonance of the players who really want the game to succeed. So when
Yeah.
you call out like blatant like overreaches and stuff, like with this, just using you as an example, a guy who's made nonstop content on it for over a year, and then you say, "Hey, this they're not running the game right. They're saying we don't need these smaller guys. We've got these big checkmark streamers." You know, um, I would get if I put that on Twitter, I get bitched at. I get dogpiled and lambasted. So
Oh, it
it's
happens to me in my freaking happens to me in my comment
yeah,
section
I
too whenever I
saw it.
put out a video, dude.
Like
It's so
yeah,
annoying. Like,
but
oh, why you crying, Pathfinder? You
the the
crying?
thing to do would have been to go to you knowing you already have an established community that's built around that game because that's like the number one thing you put out content on, and tried to placate you and got you to market to your followers or
Yeah.
your subs. I mean, excuse me,
I would
but
have been glad to,
yeah,
honestly. And
but yeah, I feel like they're just like, yeah, we don't need him. We got Clean over here. You think Clean's followers give a fuck about any game other than EFT?
no.
Or whoever, man. These other guys I've never heard of. Hellkiana just said in chat there's a guy with 200 followers streaming Dead Matter right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever,
I have like 120 followers on freaking Twitch. I don't even stream on there.
Yeah, but you can stream on YouTube,
Yeah,
especially with a
that's
channel
what I
that's
do.
already established. You
Yeah.
know, it's so much better to stream on YouTube because the thing about I don't mean to segue here. The thing about streaming on Twitch is you have a YouTube channel where you're advertising your Twitch stream 24/7, but they have to go onto an entirely different website or
Yeah.
download an app to watch you. You could just stream on YouTube right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I
don't
do
know
plan
why they
on
even
going to Twitch
compare Twitch.
eventually, but until I have a large enough follower base to where a good percentage actually follows over there to make it worth it, then yeah, I do stream on YouTube primarily whenever I do.
Yeah. I mean, Helkiana's just popped in the chat there. Apparently, the person that Archie just mentioned there is saying about streaming with 200 followers. Apparently, he ripped the game files, not actually on Steam, and he says he's 14 years old. So I think
He
that
ripped the game files?
yeah,
What the hell?
I think they've got some. I think they've clearly got some big issues that they're going to need to they're going to need to work out. And I like the fact that Dawan is the person that pipes up first in the chat with
I thought of him as soon as you said that.
with a laughing emoji using some Steam emulator. Yeah, I think as soon as we heard about ripping game files, I think pretty much anyone who's been following this podcast for the last couple of months immediately thought of Dawan. So
some little sweaty 14-year-old kid cracking his knuckles. Just time to breach some NDAs. Let's get it, you know?
Let's get it. But yeah, so to kind of bring the whole Dead Matter thing to an end, what do you two guys think they need to do to get it to where it needs to be? To what sort of steps do they need to take in the community and things like that to really make sure that this doesn't just flop and become a big bag of shit?
Pat's game, so I'll let him go first.
All right. Well, I think what they need to do is, number one, first and foremost priority, make sure everyone gets their key. And I know they're doing that now, but it has to be said, being as the launch was a failure.
Yeah.
That's basic. Make sure everyone gets their key. After that, you should totally get rid of the NDA because it is redundant and repetitive and doesn't serve any purpose. And people are already cracking the codes or server files or whatever and game files and streaming it. And there's no way you can accurately monitor that. All that will happen is you'll punish those who stream on YouTube who actually has that following with it.
Yeah.
That's the only service that an NDA will provide, because everywhere else you can't monitor. The third thing would be to make optimization a key focus point, because you can have a game with a few features
Trigger
and
Games,
people
welcome
be
on in,
fine
my
with
friend.
it for
Thank
a
you very
time,
much for the
but
follow.
if they can't even play it,
Good
if
to
it's a
see ya.
buggy, staticky like mess, then they're just going to get annoyed, and they're just going to go away. But optimization, having that nice, clean, fluid feel to it, to make it look like it looks in like the dev logs, that should be like of utmost importance. And then after that, it just goes into just upholding the promises. You need to put out a roadmap. That should be a big thing. Putting out a roadmap so we know when this is coming, when that's coming, uh, to give people just some hope and build a bit of hype and anticipation for the greater things to come. Especially to look past the launch failure. I mean, showing people what's going to be tangible in the future within a reasonable amount of time would be huge. And then last thing is, make sure that your PR people, because they at least have one, they actually like know all the information, because there was a few times where I saw in their Discord and elsewhere where people would ask questions and they're just forced to say, I don't know. And like, why do they not know? Like, they're how good is public relations really going to be if people are asking the important questions and the PR guys have to say that they just simply don't know, either one, because they don't know, or two, because they were told to say that they don't know. So that would be another thing. They need to fix public relations, optimize the game, give people their keys, put out a roadmap, and yeah.
Yeah, so Jacob Mango in the chats there put a very good point as well. Is don't use similar vehicle wonkiness that's in DayZ.
You don't want the Harry Potter experience?
No, well, I mean, I think to be fair, surely any survival game, any game that's in the same genre or even a similar genre to DayZ, if they can just get the cars right, are gonna have an edge on DayZ straight out the box to a degree.
Probably.
All right, let's see Dead Matter go create their own engine from scratch, and then we'll see how good their physics are. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. I remember they have their own car issues. They do. Don't their cars aren't perfect.
And that's on Unreal using like pre-written scripts that you can buy for $29.
Mhm.
Trust me, you can go on the Unreal store right now and see all that. Like this, I do not see where this $1 million is gone. I don't see where $100,000 is gone. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be one to look out for. It's definitely going to be one to keep an eye on and see how it goes. And like you said earlier, Archie, I think we can only hope that it succeeds so that guys like Pathfinder, who have put so much effort into making good quality content for the game, can actually benefit from the hard work that they've put in and actually get some recognition from the game and from the community overall. But if we want to switch gears and jump into more of the DayZ stuff, if I can get my launcher to come up. So the first main topic that we've got is the experimental 1.09 drop. So it looks like now Boydie's put here first ever new weapon since 1.0, the Deagle, and the return of the fan favorite Magnum. So I mean, I've played a little bit of the experimental, but I haven't played a huge amount. But it does look like they have done relatively well with it so far. It's not a terrible, horrific mess as you would expect sometimes it to be.
No, it actually looks really good. I've been playing on experimental a lot because they're having a base building competition. The winner gets 5 free Livonia keys and a custom flag in the game. And I think we're like the only people competing because I haven't seen anyone else on any experimental server. And
Easy
so,
money.
yeah, I've got 10 guys and, well, 8 guys and 2 gals working on building the base because we want Brian. And if you watch my stream, you know who Brian is. We want him on the flag. And so I've got 6 people dedicated to building the base, and I've got 4 people dedicated to raiding and destroying the other people's bases. So if you don't have a base to submit, then you can't win. So, but
Certainly
yeah,
one way of doing it.
right.
That's hilarious.
I read a lot of mafia books. Anyway, so
That's why there's no competition. You keep killing it.
yeah. So, but yeah, they implemented a lot of new stuff. I still haven't put out an update overview for YouTube yet because I'm kind of waiting until all the good stuff comes out because all these people that are just like vomiting out YouTube videos on the updates that miss 50% of the new features. I'm trying to give my viewers information, not a quick video.
Sure.
So, but yeah, they added the Magnum back. It's called the Revolver now for some reason. They added the Desert Eagle. There's 2 variants. There's nickel plated and a gold plated, which is completely impractical.
True.
But it sounds really good. And then you can put a pistol suppressor on the Desert Eagle, and it sounds so sexy. Sounds like a spitball going through a straw. And then
That is a sexy sound.
yeah, and the pistol scope is back too from the Longhorn, as well as the little pistol sight you can put on the FX45.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I'm an old school DayZ player, so I still call the guns the old legacy names. I apologize. But there's a lot of the pistols are cool. Everybody is going to find a reason to complain about every little thing, but everybody was wanting the swagnum back, as they call it, and they got it back. And now they're complaining about other stuff. Next, it'll be like, where's the trumpet? But yeah, then they added this new flag feature, and there's 27 um, default flags that Bohemia put in there. There's even a French flag. It's white. And you can, if you build a flagpole, and it's super complicated to build the flagpole. It requires 3 different tools, like 12 logs, 32 large stones,
Oh my
all
god.
that stuff. I'm gonna put it in the video. But your flagpole, it's really cool because it's a 60 feet or 60 meters. I don't know. I don't speak Concord, so I think it's 60 feet. But around your flag in that perimeter, it resets persistence, and they increased the lifetimes on everything. I don't know what they increased them to. I don't know how long persistence is now, but you can look like if you walk up to a wall, you'll know it's within the radius because there'll be a little French flag. It's white right next to whatever it is, so it'll be like flag, like a flag symbol, and then like gate or watchtower, and it does garden plots, generators, battery chargers, all that dynamic stuff that well, I guess it's player placed, but it stays for a set amount of time. So
Yeah.
if you interact with the flag, it resets it. If you go in there and you pull the flag down, it gets rid of it. But it's
Wow.
a pretty neat feature. And then they've retextured a lot of the old buildings. Sorry, that we were getting like I never was getting tired of the way DayZ looked, but it's nice that they just those little changes like that. They've retextured pretty much all of the like houses.
Yeah.
The new textures look good. It's like it went from Grand Theft Auto 3 to Grand Theft Auto 5, you know. It looks it's got depth now, all the houses, but they've retextured a lot of the exteriors, like the old Rasta Jamaican house. They made a gray variant, double red and double green, the two-story ones. They've made a beige variant and a darker. It looks gray to me. Variant. They've redone a lot of interiors, so it actually looks like the homes were lived in. Which I like the emptier structures because you can base build in them easier. But you couldn't really base build in those I call them stilteds, stilted green, stilted red. You
Yeah.
couldn't really base build in those anyway because of all the furniture by the windows. But they have a stilted beige now, and it's got a custom interior. The double, I don't know. I guess it's like the double red, double green house. There's a beige one, and on the inside, it looks like they moved all the furniture out of the bedroom, and they're remodeling the bedroom. There's like a ladder in there and stuff. It
Yeah.
really looks like the houses were lived in. Like you're actually, that's one thing I say about like miscreated. When you go in the houses, you really feel like you're in a an apocalyptic environment because there's trash and it looks like the people moved out in a hurry, you know. DayZ never really had that because they were using old assets, but just them going in there and retexturing and refurbishing, it shows that they still care, like about the experience because it's like a breath of fresh air, man. Running around Electro and seeing these new houses and going in them, and you're like, oh, this isn't what I remember. There's a bed here now. The loot spawns are changed. If you're looking for nails, they're on car wrecks now for some reason. It makes no sense to me, but they're all over.
That's so
We found like 20 boxes of nails in 2 days just on car wrecks.
Oh, dude,
Uh,
that's very
yeah,
valuable.
Well,
yeah.
to be fair,
It's
I think you had a better experience finding nails than Helkiana did. I actually watched Sumrak was streaming a couple of nights ago playing the experimental. Helkiana got in and managed to get some stream time in with him. And as she's put in the chat there, played a bit with Sumrak on 1.09, trying to make a base, but spent 8 hours to find one box of nails.
Listen, you should have just DM'd me. You want to know anything about DayZ? I'm your man. Okay.
True.
You want to know about Dead Matter? Go see Path. Trust me. If there's meta, I'm just kidding. I'm the same way. I learned through experience, but I play all this. I spend all this time on there so I can get I mean, you can consult the game files. Sure, that's what I got Dance with Jesus for. I can't read. I'm from Tennessee, but playing the game and seeing, okay, obviously it says there's a higher chance that nails are going to spawn in sheds, but I'm finding them on cars constantly. So that's what I'm going to put in my guides, and that's what I'm going to tell people.
Yeah.
But it was, dude, I watched Sumrak almost die of hypothermia and starvation, and I was like, yeah, I love Sumrak. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, yes, 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 starve to death, you motherfucker. Because like, it was just funny because all the people complaining right now about the weather and the thermodynamic system on DayZ, where your calories
Yeah.
are severely impacted by cold and wet, and the whole time for those 2 days, 3 days, I was playing experimental. It was just raining constantly, which I like it. I like hardcore survival, but but they're turning DayZ into the long dark, man. It's like, uh,
I love that game. I love both
oh,
games.
I do too. But the long dark is like meant to be, you know,
Hard.
cruel. Yeah,
It's meant to be
yeah,
long and dark.
yeah, and yeah, no doubt. And I had a joke there, but I'm gonna leave it out. But
I
yeah,
know you did. I
but
set
no,
you up.
man, I I love that Sumrak plays and streams it. You know what I mean? He gets on there, he plays it. I wish he would push his stream more. I was talking to DOJ about that. But I understand, you don't want to, but he answers questions. If you go in there and you say, excuse me, hey, what's up with, I can't find why are car radiators still spawning in sheds instead of on cars? And he'll say, well, the reason that we do this is because, and he'll answer the question. If
Yeah.
you find something that's screwed up, you can hear him jotting it down in his notebook. or going over on WordPad and typing it out. Like
Yeah.
he's actually a part of the community, which he came from the community. But it's really cool that he goes on there and streams his gameplay and answers questions. I don't know another lead developer besides Nikita from EFT who does that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really interesting, and he's such a behind the scenes kind of guy. Um, that people don't even know. Like I've been sharing his stream in my Discord, like, hey, Namal Survivor's on, Namal Survivor's on. And people are like, who the fuck is Namal Survivor and why do you keep sharing their stuff? I'm like, that's Sumrak. He's the lead dev for DayZ. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just I mean, the fact that we have that in this community is pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing it the right way as well, because he's streaming it, so he's playing it himself. So already you can tell he plays the game, so he's getting that first-hand experience. But then he's actually streaming it, so he's got people coming in saying, "Look, this is my opinion. This is what I think. This is how I feel about things." You know, like you said, asking a question, he'll give you an answer. Like I think it was either maybe 2 nights ago, I was in one of his streams. A Minder popped in. And Minder was saying about how the bullet damage between the 5.56 and 7.62 is basically the same. Like theoretically, 7.62 being a bigger round should do more damage, but at the moment they're the same.
That's coming from a European. I mean, Path was in the Marine Corps, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true.
I've been in special operations in the Navy for almost 8 years. A NATO 5.56 is a 2.23. It's a huge bullet. Okay, a
Yeah.
7.62. Hold them up next to each other. They're basically the same round. I'm sorry. Go shoot them. Go shoot a pumpkin with both of them. There's not that much of a difference. What they need to be focusing on is why is a 380 hitting like a BB, and why is the 9mm? They're basically the same bullet as well.
Yeah.
Why are they so? Why is the damage so low? I mean, I can plink people with a 22. That makes sense. But a 380 and a 9mm is working like a 32 caliber or a
Yeah.
25 automatic. It's really shitty. Like I don't pick up anything lower than 45, which I always use a shovel anyway. But like, it's
Best
they
gun in the
did
game.
yeah, they did fix the buckshot though, and I haven't seen any ghost hits with slugs. But I really wish they would fix. Listen, Bohemia, hire me to be your what's the word? I'm really tired of this. Your consultant on ballistics, okay? I got 8 years military experience. Hire me and Pathfinder. We'll make it work, okay?
I'll do it.
But
Yeah. Go
what?
for it.
Yeah, I don't understand the complaint about, but I will say I agree with Minder and Toprek, and I waited until Boydie wasn't in here because I don't want him to call me a snowflake because I'll block him on Twitter. It's an inside joke, but I do agree. Right now, the thermodynamics are a little rough because I eat. It's a meme on the stream. I'll eat a dozen fruits, and I'm starving in 10 minutes. If it's raining, and that's not with full sprinting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the waterproof clothing thing he was talking about, there is no waterproof clothing. He's right. There's water resistant and cold resistant, but it's not waterproof. And then when you find, like in my experience, early game, the best, I have a video on it, the best water resistant and cold resistant clothing items are the firefighter ensemble. And they're already heavy as hell, but when they get wet, they're even heavier.
Yeah.
And it's just so limiting because then you have no stamina and you're trying to fight these zombies who clip you into a wall, and they can hit you from 10 feet away, but you got to hit that sweet spot to kill them. You know what I mean? And that's why I just lock them up. I don't fight them. But they should either rework the caloric system where fruits and vegetables, like I don't know how you eat 12 pears without vomiting, but I know how to find food on DayZ, right? I've got over 8,000 hours. But people who are new to the game, they're not going to know where to find it. Even with guides, all these guides that people have put out about how to find it, it's a little bit OP. And I think the reason he's doing that, and this is just personal opinion, I think he's setting the game up for Namalsk because
Yeah.
it's going to be such a brutal environment with exposure and stuff like that. But with like where Tope was talking, I don't mean to harp back to some other stuff, but that post he made about I ran from here to Zelly and starved to death after eating all this rice.
Yeah.
He has a good point because yes, even though he's running constantly trying to get back to where the fight's at, because as a content creator, that's what people want to see is action. you eating 2 bags of rice or even 1 bag of rice should keep you full for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, hydration is a bigger thing. I understand why hydration should be such a big deal, but as far as the food thing, it's broken. I think it's way, and this is coming from someone who only plays like survival, vanilla, or hardcore. So
Yeah.
I still think it's way. If you're a casual and you're playing that game, and you start out for the first time, I remember my first time on DayZ. I was just like, "What the fuck is this? I can't find anything to eat. I keep getting killed by people," and you just quit. You can't find a knife anywhere. You have to make them, but no one knows that you can make a stone knife. I've got people that have 3,000 hours that don't know you can make a stone knife. You can't find stone knives on Chinaris. You have to go on the railroad tracks or the trails. By that time, you've already starved to death. Just make them spawn on the fucking beach. Make small stones spawn on the beach because there's stones all over the beach. That way, we can pick up 2 small stones, turn them into a stone knife, and then move on. Then we can go fishing, and you're set. Because if you eat 1 fish, you're good. It's kind of like
You,
they're steering the mechanics towards the survival stuff, which I like. But a lot of people don't know that that stuff is in there because unless you look up how to find food on DayZ and it pops up like my fishing guide or one of Rad Plays guides, um, then you don't know that, and they're having to go to a third party external source, and their logic for that is, oh well, that's how you build communities, is you have content creators come in and teach people stuff. But casual gamers, they're not going to do that. If there's no tutorial, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this game? The learning curve is really steep and they don't want to deal with it because
Yeah.
you're dealing with the COD generation where it's instant gratification, everything is given to you. And if you don't believe that DayZ is going that route, that 12,000 players, the majority of them are sitting in safe zones on modded servers right now. I guarantee it. You go on an 80 pop server, 40 of them are in the split between the 3 safe zones. So I mean, you got to make it not easier, but for casuals, but just not impossible for casuals. And it kind of is, unless they get really lucky and the first couple houses they run into, they find a knife. Because even as an experienced player, where I know I can go check these picnic tables at these hiking rest areas, and there's usually a knife. Sometimes I don't find one. Sometimes I don't find a knife. Sometimes by the time I find a pickaxe or a sledgehammer, so I can go mine a stone for a stone knife, I'm already dying. I'm like dead. It's too late. I might as well just respawn and start all over, so I don't have to limp for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think the idea of the game originally as well was in theory supposed to be quite a hardcore game, wasn't it? I think that's how the original developers wanted it to be when they started making it a standalone from the mod. I think they wanted it to be a sort of a very hardcore, you're gonna die a couple of times on the coast before you get your feet under you and manage to actually get anything working for you. So I think Namauska is going to really hit a lot of people hard. I think Namauska is going to favour a lot of people like you, Archie, who have played the game for years, know what you're doing. Guys like Boydie, who love hardcore servers. Those types of players are going to really thrive on Namausk. But you talk about the learning curve in DayZ Vanilla as it is now. Once Namausk comes out, that Namausk experience for any new player that's never played DayZ and jumps onto Namausk is going to have an absolute fucking nightmare of a first time.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Which they're having a nightmare of a first time on vanilla.
Yeah.
That's my point. The mosque is more for the old heads, the OGs in DayZ that played it back when it was a mod, and that's how we learned about Sumrak in the first place. Um, I don't think a lot of console probably won't have Namalsk at all, because it's not going to be an official DLC map, allegedly. But we know how
Yeah.
BI likes the money grab. So, um, I mean, I do feel like he's setting the game up for Namalsk, um, or setting it up to his. And I'm not look the day Sumrak leaves this project, Daisy's fucked. I'm sorry, it is, but I'm not harping on the guy. But I do think he's making DayZ how he wants it to be. You know, which makes sense because these modders can go in and change difficulties and spawn rates and stuff. But on console you can't, and on vanilla you can't. And most
Yeah.
gamers are casuals. Most gamers are sitting in servers with low populations because they don't want to run into anybody. Like I'm talking like less than 1,000 hour DayZ players. you know, and they're having a really hard time with that early game getting off the coast. And then when you teach yourself all that and you finally figure out the meta, knives spawn here, oh, I didn't even know I could mine stone with a sledgehammer, stuff like that. Then you get inland and you shoot a deer and it doesn't die, so you shoot it 3 more times and you're having to chase it, and then 17 zombies come at you because of the echo location that they have, which is insanely good. And then they chase you into a building and you get pinned by 2 of them in a corner and beat to death. Why are you going to respawn and keep going? What, you could just go play, State of Decay or something. So
Yeah.
there's I this is just me criticizing my favorite game, So I really feel like it's and I'm this is all coming from the comment sections in my YouTube guides. People really, and people are going to complain anyway. Like I literally have people say, "You didn't even cover this in the video," and then I'll timestamp where I covered it, and they're like, "Well, you should have been more specific." And I'm like, "No, you should just be more perceptive, you fucking idiot." But anyway, it's
I
people are
love
going
those
to,
people.
yeah, dude. If I didn't have to read my comments and respond for the algorithm, I would just ignore them because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, dude, I spent 3 days making this video for you, and you're like, this video sucks, it's useless. You know what I mean? Anyway, but
It's true.
yeah, it's a pain in the ass. You just got to go for those people who hit like, which dislikes are interactions too. They help you in the algorithm just like likes. I think people don't know that, but
Yeah,
it's true.
I think it's something's better than nothing in that respect, isn't it? But I'm not going to go into and read in the full patch notes because I think it's pretty much pointless. Generally speaking, you can all read them yourselves as you go along. I know Marks has said that he's put out a video where he goes through the patch notes. So Marks, I know you're in the chat there, mate. If you want to post a link to your video in the chat, feel free. And guys, you should all definitely go over and check out Marks's channel because he puts a load of really good videos out about DayZ, especially when there's new stuff out.
Hurry up before I DDoS it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, definitely get there quick. But yeah, I think it kind of sort of goes into as well, like you say, they've got the base building contest, which we were going to cover later on, but we might as well jump in with it now while we're here. Like you say, if they're going to do a decent contest, I mean, I didn't read all I read was that they were doing a contest. I didn't actually read anything else about it. But the fact they've got the rules here, deadline for the 4th of September, PC only. So it does say console will get a chance after 1.09 released. So at least they're doing something with with it. It does say up to 5 Livonia keys for any platform. Design a flag that will come to the base game needs to be presentable. Accepted designs will be submitted with console winners ready for release 1.10. Base will be judged internally by DayZ devs. So, I mean, I quite like the fact that they're doing something with it rather than just putting out an update. Here's the patch notes. Do what you want with it, and then that's it. They're actually doing something worthwhile with engaging the community in the experience overall, which I think is good. But I think the one thing on the patch notes I do want to just quickly cover over here is this is going to be something that people are going to go fucking crazy over, and it's the fact that duct tape can no longer be used to repair weapons and their attachments. So you're going to have to go and find a weapons cleaning kit if your weapon is damaged or anything, which personally I agree with because that makes sense.
I find more weapon repair kits than cans of food, so I don't know what the plan. And I'll say this, I have a lot of firearms and I never have and never will put duct tape on a single one of them. So I don't it's whatever, That's just personally I don't feel like that's an issue at all. Those weapon cleaning kits are everywhere. Just go to those little tan guard shacks with the bathroom and the little office and the blue lockers. They're always in there.
Yeah. So Marks, repost the link, mate, because I think my Nightbot decided it didn't want to do it. But repost the link to your video there. But I'm hoping you guys are going to have a little bit more knowledge on the next subject that Boydie's put up here. It's from his what's the word I'm looking for? His Reddit account. And it's alt accounts. It says, saw a discussion in a server group on Discord where someone said about they killed someone only to kill the same player again well inland minutes later, obviously an alt account. brought back the memory of when r/DayZ schooled me on this exact topic. Some of you may still be here, but I thought I'd share the videos I made again. Never deleted the original. I said it, and I didn't want to hide from what I originally said. So obviously you can go to that, and then Boydie's got his information that he's put there. But yeah, I think I didn't really think that alt accounts were a massive sort of issue, if you want to say, in DayZ. I mean, I don't have one, so maybe I'm just an outlier, but I didn't think that having an alt account on DayZ and having one in one place on the map and one somewhere else was really a thing that people did generally.
I do it.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say that they're necessarily like a huge issue, but it's certainly not exclusive to DayZ. There are a lot of survival games that have a spawn system like DayZ does. Can allow you to have multiple accounts on the same map. And I mean, that could be problematic depending on the circumstances, you know, like you could bury a stash or you could log off fully geared, right? And you could have your other character fully geared up and go for a base raid with your dudes. And then you imagine all your guys have alt accounts with their players. So once they die, if they die, they can just be back at the base raid in like a minute.
Yeah.
Because they have their alt accounts fully geared up with raid tools and trash.
I use mine for storage because the hackers are using ESP to dig up garden plot, or sorry, buried stashes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to guarantee, like for example, now if you're doing it to circumvent a rule, like if there's a community server that says no alt accounts and you're doing it, then you're breaking a rule. You shouldn't be doing that. But as far as like as a content creator where I need to be able to, base raid and stuff like that, if I have, 40 hacksaws, I'll just log off on my alt account with those hacksaws so that I know some hacker's not going to dig them up.
Yeah.
If there was a better way to detect the ESP scripts, because I have chopped down trees, put a dry bag in the stump of the tree, the server resets and that you can't see the hole, and then I come back the next day and the stash is sitting on top of the ground and empty. I know an ESP scripter found that. There's no way someone saw me burying it. So I started using an alt account as storage. As far as like getting back in the battle fast, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather run back from the coast and gear up. But I think that's definitely a way to just double your numbers. All of my guys I play with have alt accounts, but we don't use them in PvP or base raids. We just use them for storage.
Yeah.
Because you have to. Unfortunately, there's always going to be hackers in DayZ, and on vanilla, I'm sometimes scared to even spawn in with my alt because you get global killed so much, especially at like 2 a.m. my time. And that some guy speaking Mandarin will come up to you and all of a sudden your whole squad dies. It happens to me every single day on DayZ if I'm base raiding on vanilla. So yeah, it's really bad. That's also pushing a lot of people to community and the lower pop servers. But as far as alts, I don't see an issue with them personally, unless you're using them to blatantly circumvent rules. And there are rules on most community servers, no alt accounts, especially RP servers.
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with them. I certainly wouldn't have an issue with them either, but there's always just going to be those small population that have nefarious means.
Yeah, right. I think if you're having an alt account, like Archie said, for storage and things on vanilla to get around the hacker issue, I think that's fine. But I think it becomes an issue then when, like say, when in that situation where you've got a character that suddenly you can switch accounts, get straight back in the action again with another account, and get yourself an unfair advantage on a legitimate player. I think then that is where it becomes a bit more of an issue.
Yeah, there's always going to be. I've had people on DayZ Underground when I used to play. That's where I met Path actually. Are you banned too?
I don't know why, but I did not get banned with you guys. Okay, yeah. I wasn't at the base raid. That's why the one that you guys
were doing.
Or defending against.
Rather. There were people who absolutely have alt accounts on there, even though it says they're against the rules. And this is not just specific to that server, but we would kill a guy and then he would be right back in 10 minutes. And we're up at the Tizzy radar array building. It's 20 minutes if you run straight there,
Yeah.
from Prison Island, the shore there. So, and they were obviously using alts just to get back in the fight quick. They would stage them before their raid. That way they've got two chances. And when you don't even have to do that. You can just stash gear in the woods, which now Doug has that rule where you can't stash stuff in trees. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to speak on that server too much, but I've definitely seen people abuse it and exploit it. There was a streamer who was in a competition and he used an alt account and killed another big streamer, and that caused a big debacle. That was a couple years ago. And then he was like, "What? There's nothing wrong with it." And it's obviously cheating. You're obviously just giving yourself an unfair advantage. But he saw it as, "Oh, I thought ahead." It's like, no, you died. You're out. You're out of the competition. Just because you have 2 Steam accounts doesn't mean, you know, but you're smarter than anybody else. We all have 2 Steam accounts, but
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's. I mean, I've got one Steam account, one DayZ account. I've never personally seen the point in having an alt account, but then obviously with what you're saying, Archie, about obviously doing raids on vanilla and things, I don't tend to play vanilla very often. I'm more on modded, so it kind of doesn't really affect me in some sense.
Well, I have stream snipers too, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I average like between 70 and 110 viewers on Twitch, and I watch a lot of DayZ streamers, and I never see stream snipers the amount that I get. I don't know if it's because I do troll videos on YouTube and they want to troll the troll, but if I bury a stash on stream, it's gone the next day.
Yeah.
If I have one of my buddies go bury a stash, it's gone the next day because they'll just run around with a shovel until they get the prompt.
Yeah.
There's no way we could store stuff and it not be found. I can't even, that's why I don't build bases. I can't build bases. I get metagamed. I've gotten, several people banned from metagaming my bases. Just play fair, but I have to run an alt for those reasons. Just for storage. So
yeah, it makes sense. And Helkiana's saying there in the chat, she's got an alt account, but for server managing, use the alt account to have admin powers, while on main, no admin power, so she can just play regularly. That makes complete perfect sense to do it that way as well. If you're a server owner, at least that way you can't get accused of using your admin powers in the middle of a gunfight or something like that. So I think that definitely makes sense for a good reason for having any sort of alt account. But the next topic we've got, topic number 3, Asmondian, always coming in clutch with some good stuff. But he's actually posted some information in the Discord, in the podcast Discord. Let's see if I can find it again. I think it was in podcast suggestions. Yeah, about the hardcore discussion. So talking about the most basic starting point to define hardcore servers from the dev's point of view is first person perspective, no crosshair, long day and night cycles, no client lighting, and going from there. But obviously I think everyone's got a bit of a different idea on what hardcore is and how hardcore servers should be played and what the play style really is. It's not really something I go into very often. I'm not a massive hardcore fan. I'm a lazy sod. I can't be asked to wait around for 20 minutes for a bit of food. I'd rather just get it in the first house and go and do whatever I'm doing. But Archie, I think, are you a bit of a hardcore fan to a degree at times?
We're talking about porn or DayZ? No, I'm kidding.
Well,
no,
little column A, little column B, I suppose.
No, DayZ is my porn. No, I absolutely prefer hardcore. I think right now though, vanilla is pretty fucking hardcore with the with the rain and the cold. It's definitely a very difficult survival experience. And again, I'm speaking for casuals, but even me, I run into issues sometimes where, with just the calories, the caloric system, and I can get around the rotten, mushrooms and fruit, but it's pretty difficult right now. As far as the no crosshair, I don't play with a crosshair anyway, and the long day and night cycles, those make sense because you get the realism of night survival. But people, people can just put nods on or use a flashlight. You miss out on a lot of those really cool mechanics when you don't have a long night system and when you have the player ambient light. I personally think if you've never played DayZ at night and used a flashlight and looked at the lighting effects in the game at night, you're missing out on an entirely different experience. It looks so fucking gorgeous.
They
If
are
you just like,
impressive.
yeah, if you go in like a house and turn on a gas lantern, it's so immersive. And I know I sound corny, but seriously, man, walking around like the Tizzy radar array building up there with a flashlight on your gun and just looking at the details and the textures, that all those shaders, it looks so good. It's like it's a different experience. It's like you're playing a different game. That's what it feels like. If you haven't done it, just do it. Cause if you have offline mode, just fly up there, make it night, turn a flashlight on, and walk around. It's awesome. So I like the longer night cycles. Um, the rain. I think the weather is really what makes it hardcore, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I've not played vanilla. Well, I mean, I played 1.09 experimental vanilla the other day, and I ended up accidentally going on Livonia. I thought I was going on Chernarus. Obviously, clicked into the wrong server, but I think Livonia is definitely a slightly more hardcore map in the sense that you're just constantly in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, because Livonia is basically one giant forest with the odd town dotted here or there. But yeah, like you say, I think the vanilla experience is definitely a bit more hardcore nowadays. But I think that's the direction the devs were sort of going in anyway. I think they always sort of envisioned a very hardcore, brutal survival type of game,
yeah,
and
it's
then
supposed to
it's
be hard.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then I think it's sort of morphed a little bit, and with the implementation of modded servers as well, there's obviously a server out there for everyone, so it kind of depends on how you want to play.
right.
But part of this topic shows up for there's actually a couple of different servers. So Happy Bombs has got a server, zero, Chernarus and Livonia, no trader bases, no on-screen chat, no on-screen markers, no in-game map, no unlimited stamina, no safe zones, and no bases. So it's literally about as fucking hardcore vanilla as you're gonna get, except they've got obviously a few mods for things that you can, for weapons and the expansion mod and things like that. But water resistant military gear, I think that's quite a big bit of information for a mod for a survival server like that. And Smoke's got a couple as well. The Day One Livonia server 1PP, and the other one is Day One 1PP, which is a Chernarus one. Both of those servers seem to be doing quite well. Constantly got pretty decent player base on them. Sometimes even a queue to get on the servers. So we just got more and more decent servers coming out
Yeah,
there doing decent work.
there's definitely a market for hardcore survival right now. The problem is everybody and their fat cousins trying to start a server, and then you're spreading a lot of players out. And what people need to do is come together and make a server. If instead of every single streamer or YouTuber making a survival server, um, I think people should either find one that they like and give input on it and get it to working, or I don't know. Like me, like for example, we have a server, Trinaris Thereafter. It's hardcore. It's hardcore survival. Um, but I've put custom mods in there to give people stuff to do to incentivize looting and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You can go on the Steam workshop page and see all the mods that I've commissioned and put on there. Just giving people busy work, making it uh, easier to restart your empire after you get raided. Because if a lot of these servers, if you raid somebody, they take their 20-man Zerg and go elsewhere. You
yeah,
know, but like day one, you can't build bases on there, so it doesn't interest me at all. Plus, everybody on there is a streamer, so it's there's very little content to be found. Um, but yeah, I think there's absolutely a huge market for the or demand rather for the survival servers because right now, if you go on the server list, the top 20 servers are these, ridiculously modded servers. No disrespect to Ben, because there's definitely a player base for that.
yeah,
But the rest of us who love DayZ and not GTA Z are kind of left in limbo. So we kind of, if we want if we want a hardcore survival server that stays populated, it's either whitelisted or it's baby nades. So as far as like with base building and stuff, but then
Yeah.
again, baby nades has helicopters on it. So I mean, it's not really hardcore because everyone just hides in their base and flies their helicopter to the military spots, takes all the gear, jumps back in their helicopter and flies back home. No
Yeah.
one, they're base bums, and they live in their little base like a mouse, and they never leave, and you can't really raid. So
I never understood in playing a game like that.
I
At least
mean,
a game like DayZ like that. I mean, I
I,
get you don't want to like
yeah,
lose your stuff, but like,
there's PVE servers you can go play on. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Modern has a great one, Trump's Wall PVE. As far as like the chat on screen and all that other stuff, I don't like it. It's not the game I
yeah.
fell in love with. It takes away from the immersion and the charm. That's the way I play the game. I play the game to immerse myself in a survival experience, um, and get that gear fear and that adrenaline, that juice, that shot of cortisol when I hear a shot whiz by me or a bear snaps a twig. Um, but a lot of these cats just want that Call of Duty style gameplay, so
Yeah.
they don't. But I mean, honestly, I just wish people would come together on a server instead of starting all these different servers, because you're just spreading out that player base. And unfortunately, we're the minority now in DayZ. It seems like to me, it seems like the guys who like the core gameplay and the difficult survival mechanics, we're few and far between now, and we're usually the older content creators. A lot of us are prior service, um,
Yeah.
military service, but it draws that kind of crowd like Boydie and Path and so on. But I'm bloviating ad nauseum here. I apologize. It's a topic I'm really passionate about. Um, but you have to have a good community for your server to work.
Yeah.
So if these content creators and streamers could just like get together and make something, it would work.
Yeah, I mean, I think We Devil sort of hit the nail on the head there as well in chat where he says there's a shortfall of popular survival-based servers. And I think there is. There's so many, like you said yourself, Archie, so everyone's opening servers nowadays. Everyone can run a server now. And it is kind of diluting the pool a little bit. It is getting to the point where there's more servers than there is a player base. And whilst it's not necessarily the worst thing, because like I say, it does mean that there's something out there for everyone. I think Helkiana brings up a good point where you can't bring people together sometimes to make a server because people have different views on how things should be, and then you'll have too many chefs in the kitchen. And
well, that's
before
every
you know
single server. That's every server. You have to placate your player base, or they're going to go somewhere else. Every single server owner's dealt with that. Like, you get pressure from the players. Well, if you don't add a party system, I'm leaving. I've literally seen that probably 20 times in Discords. There's no party system. Fuck this server. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually they bend the knee because, they're spending all this money on the server. They need their prio queue, subscriptions. So they say, okay, I'll add this. And before you know it, you've got the weeb bus. So, I mean, that's every single server. It's difficult. There's too many chiefs in the tribe or too many cooks in the kitchen, whatever you want to call it. So you just I guess my fantasy would be a community of content creators coming together and making a survival server that they all could play on and enjoy.
Yeah.
And you have day one Livonia, which is cool, but there's no bases. So what about those of us that like base building and base raiding?
Yeah.
So you basically are excluding one of the huge, like the largest staple mechanics of the game now, which brought, let's be honest, the only reason a lot of these new kids are coming over is because of the JLK and Red Tie videos, and Sour Sweet, and I'm missing some people obviously, but the base raiding videos. So the kids are coming over wanting to base raid. So when you exclude base raiding from a server, you're excluding all those players from that server. And then you get a server like Day One, where 50% of the population are content creators running around trying to share content, and I don't know. It's just a mess to me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I mean, Day One is the Livonia one I streamed on for a few hours a couple of nights ago, and it's a decent server. I mean, I literally, the first person I ran into was Mr. OG, and he asked me to punch him to death because he was trying to get a different spawn,
Punch me in
essentially.
the buff, man. Punch me in the head, man. Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. I recognized his
man, I gotta
voice
go, man.
straight away, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna die now, aren't I?" And he's like, "Hey, can you punch the living shit out of me?" I was like, "Sorry, what now?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get to Toppling to where everyone else is." And then because my map knowledge was shit, I beat the shit out of him. Tried making my way to Toppling, and it took me over 3 hours because my Livonia map knowledge is non-existent now.
I don't play it. I don't play it because no one's ever on it. But it's it's cool to go on a server where I don't know where the hell I am.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, there's a water tower. I know that. And I run over there and it's some completely different town.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of draws me to Livonia sometimes. I haven't played it properly for so long that it was like a whole new experience. And although it took me like 3 hours to get from Colin Brody to Toppling because I got completely bloody lost in the middle of a forest, you know, it was an overall a fun experience because you're sort of relearning all the things that you've never even forgot in the first place.
And it's extremely hard to survive because the loot there is super scarce as far as food. The zombies seem like they're tripled, and it constantly rains. So it's like it's really hard to survive on Livonia. Vanilla.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know how Smoke's got day one set up, but I didn't have an issue with rain at any point during that whole few hours I was playing. I don't remember if it even rained at all. So I don't know whether he might have had a different server setting going on, but it was a good laugh. It was definitely a good laugh, and trying to find your way around a map that you're not as familiar with as you used to be is always that sort of, I think it kind of captures that original thing that we all kind of loved about DayZ when we first get the game. You know, there's nothing like getting a new game, learning the map, getting lost, dying, and starting over again, and just having that new experience in a game that, I mean, I've got probably close to 2,000 hours in the game at this point. Once you get to that point, although that's low compared to a lot of people, you know, nothing's new at that point. So to even have that opportunity to, you know, to get lost in the middle of the woods in DayZ is a pretty rare one nowadays.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really interesting player generated maps too that are out there that people just overlook because I guess they're not in a YouTube video yet. So it's there's those too that I like to play on off stream and just try to kind of get the gist. It's just when I want to get the organic DayZ experience again, I do that. I'll go play on those.
Yeah. So the next topic that we've got actually revolves around you, Archie. I haven't been briefed about anything by Boydie at this point, so I got no idea what he's on about at this point. But Archie Stormcloud's special investigation into servers. I'm assuming that's in relation to something that we spoke about on a previous episode. But if you've got any information on that one, by all means.
Special investigation news channel for that. I love Boydie, man. That guy knows how to make everything dramatic, dude. No, man. So basically, a friend. I had this theory. Because I started a server, and like anything I do copious amounts of research before I go in. Right. I don't want to waste time. I definitely didn't want to waste money. And as I'm sure like Ben will tell you, owning servers and commissioning mods is extremely fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And I'm right at like $800 in right now. So I was looking at, like what, battle matrix and all this other stuff, like how to get your server ratings up, what makes a good server. Because I don't want to be one of those servers who has to just placate and satiate all these instant gratification, the players looking for instant gratification and easy gameplay. I wanted to make a server that my community and I would enjoy.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be successful. So I did a lot of research, and I started going onto these other servers and and playing them in my free time and trying to get an idea of what, like, okay, a lot of people are on this and it's a survival style server. Let's see what it has, and let's see if we can either make it better or not. So I started jumping on these servers that would say like 50 people were in them, 40 people, 38 people, 60 people. And I would run around for 2-3 hours and not hear a single gunshot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't run into any players. and I know where the hotspots are. I stream DayZ 5 days a week, and all I do is get interactions or base rate. So I I every time I glance at chat, I lose my train of thought. So I'm just gonna like look away.
Yeah, I keep doing that as well.
Yeah. So I started getting kind of curious. So I opened I hit shift tab, open current game players, and I was in a server that had like 75 people on it, but there were 14 people in the list. And there's no way that the other, 61 people were in offline mode on Steam. So I
No.
was like, okay, that's weird. So I jumped off that server, joined another server. Same thing, 11 people in the Steam list, and it was like 65 people on the DayZ launcher, and the numbers are exactly the same on the official DayZ launcher and the DayZ standalone launcher.
Right, okay.
So I kept doing this with a bunch of different servers, and I can say while he's in here that I went on Ben's server, Blue Waffle Attack Force, and his server is not one of them. It's not one of them where the player count was weird. So I went to the most knowledgeable person I know about DayZ with my theory, because I'm known to be a 5-head tinfoil hat hillbilly conspiracy theorist. And I said, hey, Mark, the one, I think people are figuring out a way, some kind of script to spoof their player counts. I was like, have you heard anything about this? Because let's be honest, if there's something sketchy you can do on DayZ since the 420 days, he's the guy that would know about it, right?
Well, yeah, our resident
And
bad boy.
and he's the one who would be honest. I could ask server owners all day long, hey man, why does your player count say, 110 and there's 22 people? And they're gonna ignore me if they, even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So I went to him and he said something along the lines of, I don't think that's, exist. And I hate to name drop him, but I'll look into it. And I was like, okay, well, it can't just be my imagination. So I kept delving into it more and more and more. And then I found these Reddit posts about other people who felt the same way. They're like, I went in this server that had 95 people. I've been playing for 3 hours with my buddy. We've went everywhere. There's no one. There's no gunshots. We went to all 3 traders. No one's on this server. Is Bohemia faking the player counts? And which you could tell the guy wasn't very experienced, because Bohemia doesn't have anything to do with community servers.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I smoke a lot of cigars.
I love cigars.
Oh, me too, brother. So he got back to me, and I can't remember the exact discussion, but he said, hey, I looked into that more, and there are a few servers that I found that are definitely faking the counts. And he has a better way than the Steam current player list of looking, which I won't go into, that verified several, at least one, will say, that that had 11 players on it and was advertising 30, like 38. 30 seems like the sweet spot. It seems like there's some kind of script out there where they can spoof 30 players on their server. So if you've got, 15 people that play on your server regularly, you can spoof it to where it looks like 45. And if you've got a 45 out of a 60 slot server, your server's doing pretty good. You know what I mean?
It seems like a good mid ground number of, if you're
Right.
looking through the list, you don't want a full pop server, but you don't want one that's dead that you're never going to see anyone. Then sort of around the 30 to 50 mark is going to be somewhere in there is going to be a relatively decent middle ground.
Right. And so it just everything in show business is fake. Everything on Twitch is fake. Everything on YouTube is fake. The majority of content you see, it's fucking staged. I don't care. Come at me. It's whatever. I know it's staged. I've been invited to stage content before by, checkmark streamers, other streamers. I know it's fake. Their justification for it, it makes sense. It's for the viewers. It's for the experience. I get it. I don't see the point in staging content. It's not fun to me, and I can never convince my crew to do it. They would just be like, fuck that. That's boring. Because I can get content running around on the coast with a fucking mackerel smacking people with it, or a carp. But it's just one more thing that people are using to embellish their success. These servers that are in the top slots, that it's super easy to check if they really have that many people on them. But casual gamers, even me, someone who plays DayZ every single day, it never crossed my mind that you could fake that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself.
Right. And then so once I started, just like once I started streaming on Twitch, and I'm looking at people who have, 2,000 subs, but they only average like 150 viewers. And I'm like, dude, that's like $6,000 a month. Like, how the fuck do you get 6,000? How do you have that many? And then
Yeah.
I realize they're lying. They're just faking it. There's no way to check how many subs a streamer has. So instead of, 159 subs, they put a 6 in the front of it. So it automatically updates the 159 to 160. And it looks like you have, 6,160 instead. Everything is fake. It's all
Yeah.
fake. I know I'm like exposing the hell out of it, but I don't care. It's all fake. People buy followers, people buy chat, it's all fake. You can fake everything. If you have, $300, you can pretend to be a successful streamer with 1,000 views every stream. And that's going into another can of worms, but it's just one more thing that they can fake to embellish their success.
Yeah.
So when you see these server owners, give me just a second. Sorry, I dropped my smoke. When you see these server owners that are like the one, for example, him and Nightwolf made is it Gravity Wolf? I'm sorry, Nightwolf, Mortal Kombat. They worked their asses off on that survival modded server that they have.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. It's so good, and it's getting like no love because you can't organically grow because these other people are cheating. I mean, that's what it is. They're cheating. They're cheating the system.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
It's like a gangster coming in and fixing a union contract or something, so none of the little guys can win the bid.
Yeah.
So, and I've noticed it more and more and more and more, and it makes me. Here's what really bothers me: Bohemia gets the counts from that, right, for the players. If these guys are faking these player counts this month, and most of the players, in the community server, most of the players are in the community servers on PC, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of casuals in those low pop servers. If you add it all up, there's probably a couple thousand in those low pop servers and medium to high pop official servers. But most players are on community. And if a lot of these servers are faking and spoofing their counts, and I'm going to get canceled and lambasted for this by server owners, I don't give a fuck, but then what are the actual PC player numbers? I think Bohemia should look into it. I really think they should look into it because it's not hard to detect. It's really not. I'm an idiot and I figured it out. I just have critical thinking skills. They say I got an IQ of 154. I don't know how because like I put the milk in the cabinet and the cereal in the fridge all the time. But it's just, to me, it takes someone calling it out before people start noticing it. And it sucks because the people who are spending time and money and blood, sweat, tears, and passion into a server for their community, they can't build a community. They're never going to make their money back because these guys who bought this script one time to spoof 30 players or 50 players or whatever. And I don't even know how it works. It probably has something to do with Steam accounts, linking Steam IDs, and then putting players under the map or off the map. Because when you go into ESP mode, you can't see where the players are. That's how you know. If you go in the way that it was exposed to me, looking at I'll send you the pictures. I'll send them to you right now. You can look using an admin tool, and it shows you the map and it shows you where all the players are.
Yeah.
And the lobby says 48 players, and then there's 6 people running around the map.
Yeah.
So I'll send those over to you real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the Steam charts now. Everyone's getting a little bit excited over the targeted ads I had for some Nike, or Nike as a lot of people call them, with some models with large bulges. I've redone it and now it's giving me World of Warcraft. I would prefer the large bulge. But playing an hour ago, 18,280 apparently, according to these Steam charts for DayZ, and obviously that's just on PC. Right. So if, like you say, if there is a way people are embellishing their their numbers on, like you say, I didn't think that was even possible. I wouldn't have even thought until you've brought it up today on the podcast. I wouldn't have even given the idea that could happen or is happening a second thought. It would be, it would be a fleeting thought at the best of the times.
I just sent you to your Discord some footage from the tool, and then I'm
Yeah, I've
gonna
got
send
that.
you
Just going to
something
bring
else.
that up. Yeah, because that's the V++, isn't it? That Dewan created.
Yeah, and see, I was kind of afraid to go like public with this because I don't want people to stop using his tool, you know.
Yeah,
And
I'm going to be messaging him after the podcast today anyway because I need his help with actually being able to use the tool because I think it's an absolutely fantastic tool considering how much of a. I mean, Boydie talks about how much he's a boomer, but when it comes to anything like this, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I think it's
So
the best tool out there,
it's
honestly, and I've
such
used
an
all of them.
easy tool to use for all the things it does. It is such an easy tool to use. But yeah,
So this is
you can
just one
see.
example. This is just one example. If you look at the last thing I sent you there, the player count says 32 out of 60. And this is, I mean, the server's getting called out here. I mean, fuck it, blame me. Send your hate my way. I don't care. I'm used to it. And then you see inside the server, there's actually only 11. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
can
can
see
see them
that.
up
Yeah,
there as they're flying around. Where the fuck are the other people? So it's, I mean, it's proof that it's happening right here. There's no way these players wouldn't show up. So they found a way to spoof player counts. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, the count's not updating quickly, or it's broken on Bohemia side." It's not. It's several servers doing this, and this is a small example where it's like, 11 are there and it says 32. I've seen them where it says there's 110 and there's only like 14 people in it.
Dude,
yeah,
I absolutely believe you. That's part of the reason why I got so discouraged looking for new servers to play after the whole DayZ Underground debacle. Because every time I would join a high pop server somewhere, I would never see anybody, and I was like, "Where the frick is everybody? How is this a
Yeah,
110 player
that's
server?" But I haven't
that's
come across a single person.
Yeah, that's kind of what got me. If I never would have started trying to work on a server, I never would have stumbled upon this. So it's that's why, like, and the first person I thought about, where how would I, because if I put this out on Twitter, I'm just gonna get, the same people who always hate on me coming and hating on me, saying I'm trying to stir up shit. That's why I don't post on Twitter.
yeah,
But I figured, I'll go on the podcast, I'll see what Bordy has to say about it, or Brimstone, and 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 see what people think, because like I said, I'm known to be a conspiracy theorist and to assume things, but usually I trust my gut and I'm right.
yeah,
So this right here, um I've seen it in other games, absolutely, and now I'm seeing it in DayZ. Now I have, in my own due diligence uh, and time, perused like Bing and Google, and I even went on Tor browser in the darknet trying to find services selling this. It's not being advertised, so it's like a friend to friend kind of thing. So I tried to join the DayZ server community. They denied me. I don't know, the server owner community. I don't know why they denied me. I know most of them.
yeah,
um, and
That's
I have a
crazy.
server, but I figured maybe I could get in there. I don't care, man. And I'm not saying, I'm not going to name names on servers. Like I said, I can tell you Ben there from Blue Waffle, he's not one of them. So people are going to hate on me anyway. People are going to, I've already been blackballed and ostracized from this community 100 times by other content creators, you know. So I'm used to it. I don't care. But I think people need to know. I think Bohemia definitely needs to look into it, because it's embellishing their player counts as well. Because
yeah.
every server faking 50 players, if there's 10 of those, that's 500 fake players. And on the grand scheme, that doesn't sound like a lot. But how many of these servers are doing this? You
Well,
know,
yeah, like you say, it's almost like it kind of doesn't make sense. Why? Like, I can't imagine. It kind of goes back to that whole idea of people doing things just for just for clout and things. Like it
fake it
doesn't.
till you make it, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't. Surely it doesn't actually work to a degree where you embellish your numbers, but then nothing actually. You don't actually see any sort of positive feedback from that.
Oh, it works. It works because you're basically investing in your brand. That's the way they see it and justify it. So as far as what really sparked it off for me is these streamers who come from virtually nowhere. And I'm on top of DayZ content. I'm
Yeah,
on top of DayZ content. When these streamers pop up on YouTube, and suddenly they get a video that they go from getting 800 views per video, and then suddenly they have a video with 1 million. It's like, okay, they hired a YouTube channel manager, maybe. I don't know. But then they come over to Twitch. Now, I know how hard it is to stream on Twitch. I have extremely good production quality. I go all out with cutaways and all that other shit. I put on a show on the stream. I
Yeah.
grinded for 3 years to get to the average viewers that I have now. You can just come on Twitch, pay $360, and buy a key that's going to give you 1,000 viewers every stream. Now, you can also buy like $150 one that gives you, or sorry, $100 one that gives you 300 viewers per stream. Okay. Now, if you know that if you get 300 viewers and you pick a time slot where you're going to be number one, you're going to get all the subs, all the follows, all the donations, all the bits. You're going to make probably $600-700 a month. So then you just subtract that 360 from the 700. You're still in the green.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And then they're doing the same thing with YouTube. You see these shitty production quality YouTube videos that are hitting the algorithm somehow, and they have 200 likes and 1 million views. It makes no sense. They have 40 comments and 200,000 views. It's easy to see once you start realizing how these people are embellishing themselves, and it's to make themselves large, like it's to embellish their reputation and expand their brand, but it's inorganic, and it's sustainable if you can maintain those generating that revenue on your stream. If you can go on and say, okay, at 8 in the morning my time, there's 2 streamers on DayZ and they're averaging like 107 viewers. Well, I can buy this thing that gets me 300 or 250, and I'll be on top. And that's how Twitch works. You come in a category, you pick the first guy. Normal people do.
Yeah.
You pick the first one because you think all these other streamers have already been filtered out. It's the same thing with servers. So if you fake your server count and it's at the top of the list, right? People are going to say, oh, this must be the best one. They've already all been filtered out. It has the most players. They're going to click that one, and boom, that's how they stay on top. It's fake. It's all fake. I'm telling you, you can fake all of it. And it's not that expensive on the grand scheme of things. If I had a house cleaning company and I wanted to invest in it, I got to buy a $3,000 vehicle wrap and, get a Facebook group and get on Vistaprint and make a bunch of flyers and cards and shit. It's going to cost me thousands of dollars. If you want to fake it till you make it on Twitch, it's like $400 to get started. And people don't ask where people come from. I've seen streamers in the last year come to Twitch and in 1 month get partnered, and it's all fake. It's all fake. I'm sorry. It is. Like, people can hate on me, but
I believe it.
Yeah.
I won't hate on you. I believe it 100%.
Well, you're not going to hate on me. It's the people who are doing it that now it's going to be seen for what it is. They're going to hate on me. But I don't care about streaming and Twitch. I make plenty of money to pay my lawyer fees, and that's the only reason I stream on Twitch anymore. But the server thing is what gets me, because to have a good server, you have to really be driven and motivated to do it. You have to constantly work on it. I look at Fubar Bundy, like he doesn't even put out content anymore because he's always working on his server, and it takes up all your time. Even if you have the best admins on the planet, it takes up all your time. So, I mean, just making a good looking Discord, it's going to take 2 or 3 days minimum. So, these people put all this effort into this just for some guy who's spoofing his numbers to take the number 1 spot. It's kind of like rappers buying their own albums to boost their sales,
Yeah.
Or like The Last of Us 2 counting how many games they shipped to retailers as sales. It's all fake. Everything is it's cheesy, and it's like the Wizard of Oz when you look behind the green curtain and it's this little feeble old man.
Yeah.
That's what it's like to me.
Spoiler for alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. About 50 years after it was fucking made. But I wonder if there's any sort of correlation with like looking on Twitch generally, looking at the DayZ and the amount of streamers. There's 2 things I noticed. There's such a disparity where you'll have like the top 3 or 4 streamers in the list at any given time when you look at obviously viewers high to low. And they'll have, you know, a good couple of hundred, or when guys like Running Man's are on, he's obviously got a good couple of thousand usually. But then as you go down the list, it seems to dwindle and it drops off really rapidly. Like you'll have like
there's a reason for that, brother.
Yeah, you'll have
I'm not gonna go into that because I'll tell you what's gonna happen. They're gonna send their little fucking simp trolls to stream snipe me for 2 weeks straight, like they always do. Every single time I call this kind of shit out, I get harassed. You can ask anybody from my community. I'm gonna get harassed for the next 2 weeks over this. They're not going to come to me and call me out by name because you can get banned off Twitch for that. If I said someone's name right now on YouTube, I could get banned off Twitch for that. And they're already looking to cancel me. I already got banned once because of the same group of people I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I got a 2-week ban, successfully appealed it. DayZ shouted me out on Twitter, and the first thing they did was call me a racist and say I got banned multiple times from Twitch. I got banned once from Twitch indefinitely, and I successfully appealed it because I did not say what I was accused of saying.
Yeah.
Okay? The whole disinformation campaign where they're trying to defame people's character and shit on them because they live in England and I can't slap the dog shit out of them. That kind of shit. It's like high school, bro. It's literally like high school. Like, oh yeah, well, I heard that she has sex with her boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like the little clicky bullshit gossip. That's what it reminds me of, and it's corny and juvenile. I came here to have fun and build a community and enjoy DayZ with people like me, gamers, introverts, antisocial cats. As weird as it sounds, I'm introverted and antisocial as fuck. I might be streaming and talking to a lot of people, but I'm doing it from a corner of my house, you know, on the internet. So,
well, yeah.
But I'm just calling this out. Trust me, I'm going to get shit on. I'm going to get trolled. I'm going to get harassed and bullied. I'm used to it, man. I'm used to it. It's the internet. I got thick skin. You know, you can come in and talk about my hairline. It's the best hairline in the business. You can come in. You can talk about my tics. I have CPTSD. I have anxiety tics. I wear all that shit like armor. All they can do is talk a little bit of shit. So I don't care. That's why I call it out. You know, and there's a reason that there's that big disparity there's that big gap.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to your hairline, I can't say shit because under this dodgy fucking hat, I'm bald as the day I was born. So I've definitely got no leg to stand on talking about anybody's hairline. I'm under 30 and I've got less hair than most people. So
bro, I was born with this Count Dracula Eddie Munster hairline because my dad's Sicilian. So yeah, it's
my freaking widow's peak is through the roof right now. It's like I might as well just have like a V stamped on the top of my head.
I'm saying, dude, my hairline's definitely doing a tactical withdrawal because we don't.
Mine tactically withdrew long before I'd even hit my fucking 20s, so I'm pretty much fucked. Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic: armbands to match flags. I think, where is it? So this was actually, well, I'm going to blame Boydie for this one because it's the actual official podcast Twitter. So basically tweeted Sumrak saying, we're streaming to 1.09 patch of DayZ this morning, and a great suggestion was made by someone in the chat: armbands that match the new flags in game. And apparently that Sumrak did react quite positively to the